Can I have the roll call, please, Jerry?
Gina Argento, Bogdan Bakarowski,
Yeah.
Lisa Bamonte, Gina Barros,
Here.
Tion Brooks, Eric Brzaitis, Tom Burrows,
Here.
Iris Cabrera, Phil Caponegro, Frank Carbone,
Here.
Stephen Chesler,
Here.
Michael Chiricella, Teresa Cinciata, Giovanni D'Amato, Aaron Drinkwater, Arthur Dibinowski, T. Willis Elkins,
Here.
Julia Amanda Foster, Chair Fuller, Joel Goldstein,
Yeah.
Katie Denny Horowitz, Sonia Iglesia,
Here.
Moisha Indig, Ozena Kaminsky,
Here.
thank you, Ryan Coonan, Yoel Landau, Marie Lianza, Abraham Leibovitz, Yo Lowe, Trina McKeever,
Here.
Sante Michelli, Toby Moskowitz, Martin Needleman, Rabbi Niederman, Karen Nieves,
Here.
Mary O'Domerick,
Here.
Janice Peterson, Dana Racklin, Bella Sable, Isaac Sofer, Robert Solano, Del Teague,
Here.
Tommy Torres,
Here.
William Vega,
Here.
Maria Vieta, Stephen Weidberg,
Here.
Simon Weiser.
Hi, Jerry. Edith Cabrera is here.
Thank you. 17 members answering the call.
Jerry, I want to make sure you got me. Gina Argento?
18 members answering the call. Thank you.
Jerry, it's Giovanni D'Amato.
19 members answering the call. 20 members answering the call.
Hi, Katie Denny Horowitz here.
21 members answering the call.
Is there anybody else here that didn't answer the call?
Simon, you hear me?
Yes. Okay, so we can get started. The first item on the agenda is the presentation, key health insurance options for seniors and people with disability. Dawn Shank. I'm probably not pronouncing it right.
It's absolutely fine. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Is there anybody here to present on that item?
Can't hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you, but you're very low.
As loud as I can.
Madam
this
Chair, I'm
better?
sorry. It's Eric Brzaitis. I'm here. I was having trouble getting on.
Is this better? Can you hear me better?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for having us. My name is Dawn Shuck. I'm the outreach coordinator for the Office of Citywide Access to Health Insurance. You're also going to see Audrey Diop. She's the executive director and been with the program since its inception over 2 decades ago. I wanted to show 2 quick videos to keep in line with your timeline this evening. Can I share those? Hello?
I didn't hear your question, Dawn.
Can I share 2 videos? I want to share the YouTube videos to just show you very quickly so that we can just be brief and let you get on with your meeting.
Okay, can we share our screen with her, please?
I passed it on.
Are you able to share, Dawn?
I'm gonna find out right now. Let's see. Can you guys see that screen? No.
No.
No, it's not letting me share. There we go. Thank you to Audrey.
What's happening?
She's on mute. She doesn't realize it.
The presentation went away.
I do not know how to use. Am I unmuted?
Yeah,
Yes.
you're unmuted now.
Okay, great. So let me try this again. I am sorry, I do not use, I use Zoom. So this is a little challenging because my screen went, let's see, can you see the screen? Let me start again. Okay. All right, let's try this again. All right. Oh my goodness.
It was up before, but it went away.
I know, and I don't. This is a little. I don't know. Dawn, is it that I have permission to share and Dawn doesn't?
Maybe both of you were trying to share at the same time.
No, I'm clicking share and nothing's happening.
Well, it's probably the problem. Both of y'all clicking share.
No, I think your share button is shadowed, correct?
Yes.
Okay, my share button is clear, but for some reason, it's not allowing me. I don't, let me see. What is that? I am so sorry. Okay, I have it back, so let me try again. So let's see if I can do this.
There we go.
Okay. Okay, but do you hear it? That's, I don't hear, do you hear it?
Mm-mm.
No.
Are you able to hear it, Dawn?
No. Is the
So-
volume up on the
Yeah.
YouTube thing itself?
Let me see if it's this.
The Medicaid Excess Income Program helps you get Medicaid if your income is higher than the Medicaid income limit and you meet the.
Can you hear it?
Household size.
Yeah, I can hear it, but it's a little.
Eligible if you are 65 or older,
It's
certified
another.
blind or certified disabled, under 21, pregnant, or a parent of a child under 21. If you are under 65 years old and are certified blind or certified disabled, under 21 years old, pregnant, or a parent of a child under 21 years old with higher income, you also have the option to enroll in Medicaid through the New York State of Health Marketplace. stateofhealth.ny.gov. The Facilitated Enrollment Blind and Disabled Program is here to help.
There's someone who's, there was someone whose phone is, there's someone whose phone is, not muted. It's the same thing we were hearing, Dawn.
Yeah.
So I'm,
Could everybody mute themselves, please?
Other adjustments. So in this case, you'll see that the net support owed to the petitioner is the 14,740 minus the 8,567.38 cents, the 1,760. So therefore, the net due owed to the petitioner is $4,422.64.
Can someone please mute their,
Question: how much of the net due is owed to the facility? How much is owed to the Department of Social Services?
okay, I don't know.
This is Andre Depot. Diop.
Okay,
Here, the delinquency amount was
no, that's not my, that's not me. That's what, oh, okay, let me know what that is. Okay. This was, okay, here it is, Dawn.
Okay.
Free in NYC, Medicaid for seniors and people with disabilities. The Facilitated Enrollment Program for the aged, blind, and disabled helps people age 65 or older, blind, and living with a disability apply for Medicaid and Medicare savings programs. This help is provided free of charge to people living in New York City. Did you know that Medicaid is available to help you get the services and health care you need? Here are the documents you need to enroll.
Jerry, this is Simon. You hear me?
Citizenship or immigration status,
Yeah.
proof of income,
Simon, please mute yourself.
and proof of assets. Proof of identity. Some common documents to verify your identity include passports, enhanced driver license, non-driver ID card, a permanent residence card, also known as a green card. Proof of citizenship or immigration status. Some common documents to verify your citizenship or immigration status include naturalization certificate, U.S. passport or passport card, certificate of citizenship, enhanced driver, non-driver ID card. Proof of income. Please provide all documents that apply to verify your income, including pay stubs, self-employment income, tips, and pension. Proof of residency. Some common documents to verify your residency include driver license, a letter, lease, or written receipt with your home address from your landlord, gas, electric, cable bill, or a letter from your primary tenant in the home where you live. And proof of assets. Please provide all documents that apply to verify your financial resources, including bank accounts, stocks and bonds, and certain life insurance policies with a cash value greater than $1,500. Get free help to apply for Medicaid by calling 347-396-4705. The Facilitated Enrollment Age, Blind, and Disabled program is here to help.
Okay, we're gonna show one more video and then one slide, and I promise we're gonna leave you.
You want me to show the other?
Yeah.
Oh,
I really
okay,
need that
this-
landscape dropped in because we have to have the final delivered before end of day, all right?
3 p.m. I'll try. I'm really.
Facility. Facility. Free in NYC.
If we're just showing videos, can we just drop it in the chat and people can watch them?
Medicaid for
Absolutely.
people with
Absolutely.
disabilities.
So we don't have to
Okay.
worry about the
The
screen share.
Facilitated Enrollment Program for the aged, blind, and disabled helps people age 65 or older, blind, or living with a disability apply for Medicaid and Medicare savings programs. This help is provided free of charge to people living in New York City. Did you know that you can still get Medicaid if your monthly income is higher than the Medicaid income limit? The Medicaid Excess Income Program helps you get Medicaid if your income is higher than the Medicaid income limit and you meet the resource level for your household size. You may be eligible if you are 65 or older, certified blind or certified disabled, under 21, pregnant, or a parent of a child under 21. If you are under 65 years old and are certified blind or certified disabled, under 21 years old, pregnant, or a parent of a child under 21 years old with higher income, you also have the option to enroll in Medicaid through the New York State of Health Marketplace at nystateofhealth.ny.gov. The Facilitated Enrollment Aged, Blind, and Disabled Program is here to help.
Okay, that is the end of the video. I'm sorry about the technical difficulty as we use Zoom every day, all day. So this was a oh my goodness. This is just
The
crazy.
number that you see flash up is the number that the facilitated enrollers will be answering the phone. For the foreseeable future, facilitated enrollment is going to be done by phone and using that phone number. So if you know anybody who may be interested in the program, they can call and see if they're eligible through that phone number. If you know any organizations or anybody else who wants a fuller presentation, which is about 30 minutes, anybody in Brooklyn, so I can bring all the giveaways we have, please let us know because we will absolutely do that. And then Audrey's going to put up a slide with the basic information, but we will send all this so that you have it, so that if you know anybody who's do it.
Yes,
You're
we
going in and out, Dawn. Audrey, you were saying something?
no, I was saying that Dawn was saying that is there a chat available in this WebEx so that we can put that information for Dawn's email address?
Just send it to the board and we'll send it out to the members.
Okay, very good. So we thank you for your time and attention and sorry about the technical difficulties. We typically provide a presentation that's about 30 minutes long. That includes key information, including key changes that are in the New York State budget that was enacted last month that will make it easier for older adults to get Medicaid. And we'll share that information with the board and look for future opportunities to present in a more cohesive and concise manner. But thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you.
Okay.
Have a
Does
good
anybody
evening.
have any questions?
I do, Madam Chair, Sonia.
Yes.
You hear me?
Yes.
I'm very interested, when you speak of the older adults
Yes.
and their Medicaid, I know older adults that even by $10, $20, they weren't eligible. So you
Yes.
say you do transportation for older adult centers?
So if someone is over the Medicaid limit, they have two options. They can either pay HRA, the example you use, if their income is $40 over, they can pay Medicaid the $40 and obtain Medicaid, or they can also present medical bills in that amount, and that will also cover their, as long as it's $40 or more, that would allow them to get Medicaid as well.
Oh,
But
wow.
we can
Thank you
do
so
a
much.
presentation. Yeah, if you would like a
I'm
larger
very-
presentation, we can do it.
Thank you so much. Please send information over. Thank
got
you.
Yes,
You're
we will indeed. And so I think one last thing I want to mention is that beginning in January 2023, the income limit for people who are over 65 is going to increase for Medicaid. Right now it's $934. It's going to go up to $1,500 in January. Also, the income limit right now, meaning you cannot, the resource limit, you can't have more than $16,000 in the bank and get Medicaid. That will increase to $28,000 in January. In addition, adults who are undocumented, who are 65 and older, will also be able to get Medicaid, and that will begin in March of 2023.
That'll be
Thank
part,
you.
that'll be
Yay.
part of the package that you're sending over.
Yes, we will include that slide in the package tomorrow.
Thank you.
You're most welcome, and thank you again for your time and attention.
Thank
Are
you.
there any more questions? No more questions? Okay, thank you so much for your presentation. We enjoyed
Okay,
it. And
thank
maybe,
you.
maybe you can figure out and come back to us at a later time. you
Yeah,
know,
we can
and give us the
absolutely do,
updates.
if we
Yeah.
can get a half an hour, we can do the full PowerPoint presentation for you.
Okay, in that case, when you do decide you want to come back, check with the office and maybe you want to run through how to use WebEx, how to share the screen and everything.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah, I think with PowerPoint, it's easier than with internet. So we'll do that though. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Have a good
dear.
evening.
All right, you do the
Great week.
same.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Councilman Ressler, are you ready?
I am.
The screen is yours.
Hi, Jerry. I just wanted to let you know.
I'm on the subway, so hopefully it won't be too loud.
We're having
Just-
I can't hear
difficulty here.
You great. Great. Sorry about that. Hopefully
You have
there's
no
lighter up
bandwidth
here.
and your video is not available.
All right, we're gonna do this one without video. I just wanted to thank everybody for having me. A few quick updates on our end. We released an exciting climate action plan today for District 33 that is focused on how we can make our council district a model in the fight against climate change and drive down emissions from our buildings, our transportation, and our waste, achieve more and new green space, and make our waterfronts more resilient. So it's a comprehensive 40+ initiative plan, legislation we're pushing at City Hall, organizing initiatives we're undertaking in the district, and an oversight role that we're playing with the mayor's office and city agencies and private actors. There's a lot of great stuff in there. Really hope that folks will take a look and dig in. Secondly, we had a subcommittee meeting today on 103 Lee, which was a development site that you all considered at CB1 a few some weeks ago. We did recommend approval with modifications. I wanted everyone to know that thanks to the advocacy of many community leaders in South Williamsburg, we were able to achieve more 3 bedrooms. In fact, 6 times as many 3-bedroom apartments as was originally proposed, and about half as many 1-bedroom units. So an orientation towards serving families and better meeting the needs of the community, which is a big priority in South Williamsburg. We also modified the rezoning area, not including 100 Lee across the street, where there are 11 small businesses that won't be impacted as a result of this rezoning. So that's good news. We have our pop-ups happening on the 12th on Thursday at Jonathan Williams Plaza. Our council, some of our council staff will be at Jonathan Williams at 225 Division. If you have any questions or need any help, come by and say hello, 10 to 4, 10 to 5. And next Thursday on the 19th, we'll be back at the Greenpoint Library. So if we can help with any local issues, come in and say hello. Our staff is there. And the last thing I wanted to mention is just a new bill that we introduced this week on this past week on police evidentiary misconduct, or on evidentiary misconduct. If officers are allegedly sharing inaccurate information under oath, or this bill would allow for allegations to be made to the Department of Investigation to investigate, and they would then refer the appropriate cases to the DA's office to take action. So it's an important piece of legislation to ensure accountability on the NYPD if there are any issues in misconduct, and I think it addresses an important our legal system where we haven't had necessary oversight. If our office can help in any way, we are here to help. I'm sorry it's loud where I am. I hope you'll hear me. But really just want to thank Chair Fuller and the whole CB1 team for having us. And we have some great new appointments to CB1 that we've worked on with the Borough President's Office. So those should be coming out imminently. We're really proud of some of the new and diverse community members that are going to be joining the board, and look forward to working with you all in many ways. If I can answer any questions or help in any way, I'm happy to do so.
Does anybody have any questions for the councilman?
I have a question.
I don't have a question. I just want to say congratulations, Lincoln.
Congratulations on the good news.
Thank you so much. I put a ring on it, so I couldn't be happier. Thank you, Maria. I really appreciate it.
I was gonna wait to the end and tell everybody congratulations are in order. I was gonna wait till we finish.
You're very kind.
Congratulations.
could
Wish
not-
you the best.
Thank you so much. I could not be luckier, and we actually celebrated on Saturday night at a restaurant in Greenpoint. So we had a great time, and I just want to thank you all so much.
Great. That's
I have
wonderful.
a question, Chair Fuller.
Yes.
Hi, Lincoln. Congratulations on the personal and professional. You're killing it. So happy about your bill. The Daily Beast reported that the Brooklyn North detective commander was found guilty in a civil trial of murdering somebody on duty, and now he's investigating murders. I know we brought this up. Your colleagues before you were in council brought it up, but now it's come to light that he's investigating a murder of the victim's brother. And, you know, as gun violence and other crimes continue to soar, and there's a dismal clearance rate already by the NYPD, will there be any action around not just accountability, but the integrity of the process of investigations happening here in Brooklyn North, which includes, you know, our district?
Well, Dana, I really appreciate you raising this. It's an area of major concern. You know, I and many others raised my voice in concern when these issues came up last year, and that has not abated. So we need to take a fresh look at how we can try to bring some oversight and accountability here. Would really welcome the opportunity to speak to you about it in greater detail. Make sure that I'm the issues, and then let's think together of how we can exert some pressure to ensure that that our officers who work their butts off and you know, do a lot of good, that when there are issues of accountability and lack of integrity, and most of all, severe misconduct on the job, as happened in this instance, that folks are held accountable. And you know, that has to happen consistently. And I really appreciate you raising this this particular instance where it has not occurred, and we'd love to work with you to make sure that it does.
We can't hear you, Councilman.
Oh, that was it. That was all I had to say.
Okay, thank you so much.
May I say something?
Yes.
Hey, Lincoln, I just wanted to give you a shout out for your community cleanups, and in particular, the one this past weekend at North 15th, which was part of Riverkeeper and the opening day of the open street for the first time. So that was fantastic. And also working with your office on the McGlorick Dog Run event this Sunday. If anyone's interested, we're going to be refurbishing the dog run and with Lincoln's support. So thank you for that as well.
That's very kind of you, Katie, and thank you for your partnership. We greatly appreciate the North Brooklyn Parks Alliance. You know, we're doing community cleanups in every neighborhood in the district and hope to do them on a recurring basis. We've been mobilizing volunteers and working with great community partners like Katie and Riverkeeper and others to make them happen. You know, we need to do more to keep our neighborhoods clean. And you know, we're doing our best to fund this Department of Sanitation properly in this budget so that they have the resources to do their job. But you know, we also want to take responsibility and ownership for what's happening in our own neighborhoods. And so these community cleanups are a big priority of ours to ensure that our communities are in the condition that we deserve. And you know, if anyone's interested in getting involved and volunteering and helping out, just shoot us an email, district33@council.nyc.gov. or 718-875-5200, or stop by one of our pop-up offices in Williamsburg and Greenpoint. We are really eager to get more people involved to make a difference. And I'm really eager to help, you know, organize for a couple business improvement districts in Williamsburg and Greenpoint so that we have more dedicated additional street cleaning capacity, especially on our commercial corridors like Manhattan Avenue and Bedford, where it's just too dirty. And bids would help a lot, and we want to work with partners to help make that happen.
Madam Chairman, I just make a comment, please.
Yes.
Thank you. I just want to say, Lincoln, you should write a manual the best practice with city councilmen, because I won't use the word kill it, but you hit a grand slam, and people should follow how you do it. And also to my fellow committees and neighbors, I was able to join Lincoln, one of his efforts, and Dumbo. And it's a wonderful way to meet good people, good neighbors, and we really all have a lot more in common than we think. So I purposely wanted to go outside our boundary just to meet more new people. And I'm pleased to say that Lincoln, you have excellent staff, and our neighbors are all wonderful. Thank you. Oh,
You're very kind. Thank
I'm glad you got Anna. I'm so happy.
I'm damn lucky about that one. So I couldn't be happier. Thank you, William.
Okay, is there anything else?
Yes, Del Teague here. Lincoln, I just want to say that you've really made good on your promise to work with us for our concerns with the land use applications. And I just want to say you're doing such a great job, and thank you.
You guys are like the nicest people I've ever. Dale, and you're too kind. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you all for the kind words. It's incredibly gracious. We are fortunate to have such a great community board at CD1 as a partner. And, you know, I've been really impressed by the land use committee over many years under your leadership, Dale, under Ward's leadership, under Heather's leadership. We've had so many great folks at the CD1 land use committee who have been pushing for the right things for our community. And you all deserve council members and other elected officials who are going to work in true partnership with you. And you can count on us to do our best to be the best partners that we can be.
Thank you.
Hi, I just want to say something, Del. This is Gina from Broadway Stages. I want to thank you, Lincoln, for coming out to visit us and all the other businesses after the brutal storm we had this past September. That was very kind of you to come out and visit everyone. So we appreciate that.
Thank you, Gina. You know, we were out there with Emily, and we owe you another visit. So
Thank you.
Look forward to coming back again and figuring out how we can be helpful.
Thank you, Lincoln.
It's Mary O'Domrick on behalf of myself and the Congresswoman. Congratulations on your marriage. Your pictures were gorgeous. We were looking at them today.
Oh, you guys are making me blush. I don't deserve all of this, but I really appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We're just proud of you, Lincoln. We're just proud of you. Wouldn't do no good if we didn't let you know, right?
Oh my gosh, you're gonna get me all teary up here on a community board meeting. I'm getting embarrassed. So thank you all. I really, really, really appreciate it. I'm fortunate to have you guys as partners.
Thank you so much, Lincoln. Have a good evening and wish you all the best.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Bye. Okay, the next item on the agenda is Domino's Sugar Factory. Is anyone here to present on that item?
Yes, hello. Hi, it's Laura Chang from Two Trees. How is everybody?
Fine, and yourself?
Good, good. I also have with me tonight Bridget McCrum from Two Trees. Bridget is going to be sharing her screen if we can give her permission to do so. I'm not sure how that works.
Yeah, it looks like it's grayed up. There it is. Okay. We go. Is that visible?
Yes.
Full screen. Okay.
Great. Thank you, Bridget. Thanks everybody for having us. We are here to talk about our minor modification application that's currently under review by the Department of City Planning. It's not yet certified, but we have sort of cemented all of the major design decisions, and so we thought this would be a good opportunity to give you a short presentation about it, see if there are any questions. Right now, we are being reviewed by Technical Review Division, and we're anticipating just technical issues with the drawings at this point. Of course, if there are any substantive design revisions that come after this, we're happy to bring it back to you and share that with you. So this is and Bridget, you can go to the first slide if you would. Thanks. So this is the site plan that was approved of the 2014 Domino ULURP. And what you see here is just a highlight of River Street. I think everybody recalls we completed the construction of River Street at the same time that we completed construction of Domino Park, which was the summer of 2018. And this was the original design of River Street. And you can see here that the street widths vary from 30 feet to 20 feet. In the 3 years, now almost going on 4 years since then, we've observed a number of things in the everyday running and practice of Domino Park. And Bridget, if you can go to the next slide. Originally, that 30-foot street width was designed to have 2 lanes of driving and then one striped no standing, no parking lane that you can see in these pictures. What happens in practice, we've now realized 4 years into running the park, is that we get idling cars in that striped zone all day, and they present both a nuisance and a safety hazard for pedestrians and park users. So we think that there is a site plan improvement to be made here, and that's really what's driving this application. The next slide. What we're proposing here is that we would, now that we're working at the southern end of the site, we were proposing to narrow the width of River Street from 30 feet to 25 feet at the 2 sites at the south end, which is Domino Square, which is sort of an extension of Domino Park, and then the final residential the multi-mixed-use building at the very, very southern end of the site. And if you can go to the next slide, Bridget, and you can see that what happens here is that the street just gets 5 feet narrower. That striped no standing, no parking lane goes away. The sidewalks remain 15 feet. And the result of that is that Domino Square, which is an open space, gets 5 feet larger. And then the footprint of Site D, our southernmost building, similarly gets 5 feet larger. And along with that, we are also proposing a number of minor modifications to the building design. What you see on the left-hand side of this image is the approved ULURP envelope, again, from the 2014 approval. And now, of course, the building is actually in design. The design architect for this building is Seldorf Architects, headed by Annabelle Seldorf. And we now have a building rather than just a massing. And as that design development process has progressed, we've identified a number of modifications that we would like to make to the building envelope. And I'm just going to walk through each of those kind of quickly. The first is that as River Street narrows by 5 feet, the footprint of the Site D building increases as well. On the west side, it increases by 5 feet. On the south side, it increases by 2 feet because the angle of the road. And what that means is just a small increase in the size of those 2 towers. I should note that none of these changes impact the allowable FAR on the site, the amount that we're going to build, and nor do they affect the tower height. Another important change, and again, this is very much driven, I think, by 2 things, kind of the architectural considerations for the building itself and also the site plan. Originally, the ULURP envelope contained this little bump out at the very southern end of the site that we kind of non-affectionately referred to as the barnacle. It's that area that's highlighted in pink in this axon image. And this was always a kind of a device that allowed us to recoup a little bit of allowable FAR. This envelope has always been tough to get the allowable FAR into this small building footprint. And that was a place for a little bit of that leftover FAR. With the reduction in the width of River Street and the accompanying expansion of the towers, we're now able to do away with that little appendage entirely. We think it's a real improvement in the architecture, and most importantly, I think from a site plan perspective, it widens the view corridor and the southern gateway to Domino Park, and that what previously had been part of the building now becomes a publicly accessible open space. Another change, this is very much architectural in nature, is to increase the height of the podium that runs along that southwestern slanted edge of River Street by 20 feet. The podium had previously been 45 feet, and now it would be 65 feet tall. This was really driven by, I think, an urban design condition where we felt that those 2 towers, the Seldorf architecture team, I should say, felt that those 2 towers, as they came down and met the ground, that the base didn't feel sort of the proper proportion for them. And I will note, too, that 65-foot podium is within the allowable building envelope. We just wanted to point out that that would be a change. And here you can just see the overall massing that's now proposed by the team. One other change from the original proposal, and this does not entail any further waivers or any increase in waivers. So it's really not necessarily germane to the approval, but wanted to point out that they've taken a different approach to designing the tops of these towers. Originally, the towers rose to their full height without any sort of setback. And now that they have fully developed the facade, they're taking a different approach where you can see more of a kind of tiered approach at the top of the building. We think it's a kind of more graceful crown to the building. And I think you'll see in the end, we're going to pair some side-by-side images. It seems to kind of lessen the presence of the building at the very top, kind of in the skyline, which we thought was an improvement as well. This is just a plan view that clearly highlights what changes about the building footprint. And what you see in green, kind of highlighted in that bright green, are the areas where the building footprint gets larger. And what's shown in pink is where the building footprint gets smaller. In the end, the net change is very minimal. I think it's a total of 34 square feet in the size of the building footprint that changes from the originally proposed to the new. And then this is a view that shows you kind of what it means to take away that barnacle and instead have the building come straight down to the ground. And the following slide, I think, shows very clearly kind of how that increased view corridor into Domino Park, and we think provides kind of a more generous and welcoming gateway to the southern end of the park. And then lastly, this is just a plan view of what that additional publicly accessible open space at the southern end of the building site would look like. Those of you who are familiar with that corner, there's quite a kind of severe pitch in the road. So we're having to navigate a lot of changing grades. And this was a piece of landscape design that was executed by James Corner Field Operations. They are the designers of Domino Park. And this is very much meant to the materials that are used and the language that's used are meant to tie this piece of new open space to the park. So we've got a series of benches and terraced seating areas that, people passing through to the park and just people passing along the street can pause and rest at. And then lastly, this is just a kind of side-by-side view of the original proposed ULURP envelope and now the proposed design as it's been developed by the team currently. So that's it. This is obviously an illustrative package. As I mentioned, the technical drawings are still under review right now by Department of City Planning. We've gotten one round of comments and we'll be submitting a second draft application at the end of this week. And so we're hopeful and expecting that will be certified shortly. And obviously, as soon as it does, it will be referred to you guys officially. But we thought that we would kind of take this opportunity to show it to you in sort of this conceptual and illustrative package at this point.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
Yes, I do, Madam Chair.
I don't see any hands up. Okay, Chesley.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for the presentation. The question I had is, what are you doing with the additional height that you're gaining with this new design? Or are the penthouses increasing?
Well, there's no additional height. The towers are the same height that they've always been. The taller tower is 535 feet. The lower tower is 435 feet. So there's no additional height. There's just a change in the massing at the top. As you can see, the top of the tower now sets back a little bit, but it's the same number of stories and the same height that it was previously.
Okay. And just a comment. I know beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but I know the new design just looks a little old-fashioned to me and out of sync with the other buildings in terms of just kind of doing things a little bit out of the box with the design, but I don't know. So
yeah, it's interesting. I don't know if people are familiar with Seldorf Architects' work. Annabelle Seldorf is, she has a very interesting approach, we think, that is very contemporary, but definitely has these kind of more traditional references. And, her buildings are all over town. We find them quite beautiful. And I think for us, from the start of the Domino project, we'd always wanted it to be kind of an organic neighborhood in the sense that each of the buildings was intended to have and has had a different design architect. And we kind of like the kind of difference in approach that each of the buildings embodies. So.
All right, thank you.
Are there any other questions?
Yes, Madam Chair. Del Teague.
Hands up.
Can you hear me? Yes.
Yeah.
If I understand, Steve, I think you were saying that it seems a bit old-fashioned to you, that you were not, you didn't really like the new plan better than the old. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct. I like,
Right.
yeah.
Because from your answers, sounded to me like wasn't sure you understood that Steve was being critical of the new design.
Yeah, no, I do understand. As I can only agree that beauty is indeed in the eye of the beholder.
And do you have any idea when this will be coming to us? Do you think this is going to be something that we're going to have to meet over the summer on?
No, I mean, we're hopeful that it will be very soon. As I said, we're intending to submit our second draft application this week. So obviously, once it's in city planning's hands, we don't control that timeline, but all the discussions that we've had with them so far and the comments that we got on our first round application were quite minimal. So we would hope and expect that it would be to you soon.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions? No other questions? Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. See if I can. Oh, how do I stop this? Oh, here we go.
Okay, liquor license. Do we have anybody speak on liquor license?
Yes.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
this is Tom. In the list of new liquor licenses, number 5 and number 7, I'm going to be asking that they make presentations. Number 5 appears to be a hotel, and I believe hotels need to tell us what they're doing. And number 7 is quite a large entertainment venue, and so I'm going to be asking that they be on the next full board meeting. So just be aware of 5 and 7 may be both on the agenda next month. So
Okay, send us an email on that.
yes.
Yes, Madam Chair, I want to tap into what Tom just said. Definitely, that's a location and there used to be the House of Bands. And in the past, there were, in 2015, large events that were taken into the bike lane, food trucks. So we don't know who is coming. And definitely, I agree with Tom. This is something needs to have a serious community understanding of who is going to run this and in which way. Because 250 is a very modest number. There were like hundreds and hundreds of people. It was something far bigger. That space is very big. So thank you.
The first speaker is Ned Rosen. I don't see a Ned Rosen here.
Hi, Jerry. This is Gina from Gina Argento. I know that there's someone that's trying to get in that registered earlier today. His name is Eric Platnick. He says he can't get in. He reached out to me.
Is the speaker on about, did you find the speaker about the liquor license, John?
No. The next one is Manu Sokar. And Manu Sokar is not here. That's it on the speakers for the liquor license.
I know Mr. Sokar wants to speak about an item that posted for our April meeting, but has never shown up on the agenda. So he just wants to make sure we keep alert about it. 1041 Flushing Avenue. So I don't know what ever happened to that item. I'll have to check with the office tomorrow, but they posted that they were going to be in our April meeting, but I haven't seen him on an agenda yet. So
did he put in to be on the agenda?
no, Mr. Sokar wanted to talk about it because he saw the posting on the building, but I've never seen the item itself show up on our alcohol list. I don't know where their application went. I don't know if it's lost in the office somewhere or what happened to it. So I have to.
Well,
he had emailed me today.
We don't lose things. If we get it, we make sure it go where it should go. We don't lose things.
Right, but it just didn't seem to get on the list somehow, so I had to figure out
That don't
where
mean it got to the office.
Well, they got the paperwork to post the notice on their building, but then after that, nothing happened. So I don't know if they didn't follow up. I have no idea. That's what we're trying to find out because he's concerned. So I'm going to check with Joanna tomorrow to see.
Well, tell him to send it again. If he sent it, tell him to send it again.
No, the person who wants to speak is against the place. That he's not the applicant. He's opposing
Oh,
it.
well, I mean, there's nothing we can do about that. Is there any other members on the SLA got any comments about the license, liquor license? If not, that concludes our public session. We'll now go into our board meeting. Can we have a moment of silence, please? And let's dedicate it to peace in the world. Thank you. Can I have a roll call, please?
Gina Argento,
Here.
Bogdan Bakarowski,
Here.
Lisa Bamonte,
Here.
Gina Barros,
Here.
Keon Brooks,
Here.
Eric Brazetas,
Here.
Thomas Burrows,
Here.
Iris Cabrera,
Here.
Phil Caponegro,
Here.
Frank Carbone, Stephen Chesler,
Here.
Michael Chirichella,
Here.
Teresa Cinciata, Giovanni D'Amato,
Here.
Aaron Drinkwater, Arthur Dibinowski, T. Willis Elkins,
Here.
Julia Manda Foster, Sheriff Fuller,
Sherry, she's having trouble getting in for the past half hour or more.
Yeah.
Joel Goldstein, Joel Gross, Katie Denny Horowitz,
Here.
Sonia Iglesia,
Here.
Moisha Indig, Rosanna Kaminsky,
Here.
thank you, Ryan Coonan,
Here.
Joel Landau, Marie Lianza, Abraham Leibovitz, Joel Lowe, Trina McKeever,
Here.
Sante Michelli,
Here.
Toby Moskowitz, Martin Needleman, Rabbi Niederman,
Here.
Karen Nieves,
Here.
Mario Domerick,
Here.
Janice Peterson, Dana Racklin,
Here.
Bella Sable,
Hello.
Isaac Soap, Bella Sable,
Yes.
Isaac Sofer,
Yes.
Robert Solano, Del Teague,
Here.
Tommy Torres,
Here.
William Vega, Maria Vieira,
Present.
Vega's here. William Vega's
Stephen
here.
Weidberg,
Here.
Simon Weiser,
Here. You hear me, Simon? Jerry, you hear me, Simon?
I hear you, Simon, but I don't think they hear you.
32. We hear you, Simon.
Jerry, thank you.
Jerry, sorry I missed
Jerry?
Manovsky's here.
Jerry, I'm here. It's Julia.
Okay, fine. Thanks, Julia.
And Jerry, did you get William Vega?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
And Dibinowski and Foster make 34.
Thank you, Jerry. Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can I have approval of the agenda, please?
I second.
I make a motion to approve the agenda. Iris Cabrera.
Iris, who seconded?
William Vega, seconds.
William Vega, thank you. Approval of the minutes, please.
First, I approve the
Motion to approve.
Approval of the agenda, minutes.
Second, Phil Caponegro.
Is there anyone else? There's a second, but there's not a motion.
I thought I made the
David
motion.
Niederman
Madam
made
Chair,
the
to
motion.
Foster.
Didn't make the motion.
Everybody Needham, Phil Cabernego. Minutes approved. Next, we'll have our public session. We have a lot of speakers. So Joanna's gonna call the names of the speakers. When she call your name, please push *3 to unmute yourself. Push *3 to unmute yourself back. So when Joanna calls your name to speak, push *3. Thank you.
Brooke Sweeney. The next speaker is Amy Wolf. The next speaker is Laura Williams. The next speaker is Timothy Harrell.
Are they having trouble unmuting themselves? Are they here?
I don't see them.
You don't see
I
them?
see Eric Palatnik, who tried to speak earlier. He has his hand raised.
Did he sign up to speak?
He's on the list, but we're going by order.
Okay, all right.
Seek Don. I see him.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Zeke Dunn. I'm a resident. As people return to Williamsburg and Greenpoint Parks this spring, a new issue is presenting itself at a greater scale than before. It's unleashed dogs throughout the day, but mostly in the morning in public, unfenced areas of the parks. I live near Cooper Park, where the grass in the central lawn was replanted this winter, and while the lawn was fenced to protect the new grass, dog owners let their pets run unleashed in an area abutting Sharon Street, and that space is now completely devoid of grass. We used to have kids' birthday parties in that grass, now it's a dust bowl. As soon as the protective fence on the center lawn came down, the waves of dog owners moved back over to that space, leaving a destroyed patch behind on their way to destroy another patch. Over the course of the morning at Cooper Park, that lawn will easily see 50 unleashed dogs, while a fraction of that number use the designated dog run that's 200 feet away. This usage is unsafe, unsanitary, destructive, and illegal. Unfortunately, you can find similar complaints on the Nextdoor app addressing huge numbers of unleashed dogs at Newtown Barge, McGolrick, McCarran, and Transmitter Parks. It seems like somebody started using these public lawns this way, and other people saw it and figured it was fine, and now it's snowballed to the point where we have empty dog runs and public lawns overrun by unleashed dogs. We've always had a shortage of green space in this neighborhood, and there are some viable issues with the dog runs, but none of that justifies taking over the whole rest of the park. It feels like only a matter of time before someone is attacked by an unleashed dog. In the meantime, the grass will be destroyed and people will be discouraged from using our limited grassy spaces because they'll be surrounded by dog urine and feces. A youth soccer organization practices on that field at Cooper in the evenings, and I watch them fall in the grass, knowing that those kids are landing in animal waste. In the long term, I hope the city, and with the help of the community board, can help find new green spaces to help give humans and dogs enough room. I'd love to know if some portion of the vacant National Grid property on Vandevort could be repurposed. In the short term, I see no alternative but to advocate for enhanced enforcement of the leash law to prevent this antisocial behavior and save these parks for the people of North Brooklyn. I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Zeke.
Next speaker is Ali Feldman.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Well, this is coincidental. I'm here to represent actually over 50 dog owners who use Cooper Park daily. We have an email chain we've all agreed to be a part of, and there's been some really great discussion really to address the issue that the previous speaker has brought up. We're hoping to improve the park experience, not only for dogs, but for the rest of the community as large, as members of this community. The fencing off of the main circle over the winter months has pushed many issues to the fore, including the population boom of dogs in the area, as well as the state of our current dog run that was mentioned, and limitations certain laws have had in our dog community. We are very aware that there are many community members who are frustrated with the damage dogs have done, created in the southern central side of the park, and we are working ourselves to repair the damage until the city continues its regular seeding schedule. There are actually some volunteers this Saturday who are doing some seeding, and I know that there are plans to continue this effort just on our own without any city assistance. We hope to make an impact there in other areas. But our consensus is that the current dog run no longer works for the community. It not only is in need of drainage repair, new ground cover, and shading, but it is entirely too small for the population of dogs in that area. If every dog that was in this area used that dog run, it would be incredibly unsafe for both the dogs and the human beings. We have hopes that a larger run can be made from the east central area close to the tennis courts. It's a rarely traversed area that in itself is in need of drainage issues to be used effectively by anyone. In the interim, we have engaged with the North Brooklyn Park Alliance. During a community Zoom, we had a really amazing educational exchange with surrounding dog park leaders and are really grateful for their guidance. And as a community, we are more than willing to pitch in to keep the current run as clean and healthy as possible. Finally, we are aware that laws prohibit off-leash hours in a park with an existing dog run. That just doesn't make sense to our expanded community anymore. It is unsafe not only to have that many dogs in a run, but over time, and considering the lack of maintenance, it is a health hazard. There are rarely park users before 9 a.m. or after 9 p.m., and extending off-leash dog hours to Cooper Park would provide exercise and a safe space that these dogs dearly need. It is also the most economical choice. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate this discussion, and I really hope we can work together to create a solution that works for all of us.
The next speaker is Andrea Fred. Not here. The next speaker is Eric Paladnakit.
Yes, hi, this is Eric Palatnik. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Hello, good evening. Thank you for allowing us to speak for the evening. Thank you to all the board members. My name is Eric Palatnik, and I'm an attorney, a land use attorney, and I'm representing Broadway Stages with respect to the Kingsland Avenue and Monitor Street, which is actually named incorrectly on the Department of Transportation documents as Monitor Avenue. Protected and standard bike lanes. We have a presentation, me and a gentleman named Austin Corey here, which we'd like to show to you, but I'm sure your committee and your board is very familiar, Transportation Committee, with the April 14th meeting that your Transportation Committee had, where the Department of Transportation is proposing bike lanes to run up and down Kingsland Avenue and Monitor Street through the industrial business zone in front of a number of intensely commercial and manufacturing businesses without securing the input of these manufacturing businesses. These roadways are extremely dangerous, particularly Monitor Street, and we at Broadway Stages are asking your board to urge a pause on the vote and the action on the DOT's Kingsland Avenue and Monitor Street protected and standard bike lanes proposal to allow the input of the area operators, including the manufacturing businesses and Broadway Stages in particular, who owns the majority of the property along Monitor Street in the industrial business zone that we are now proposing to put young people on bicycles to ride through amongst the tractor trailers. We are asking you to please consider other routes and to let us participate in the public review process properly with you and the Department of Transportation. We do support the inclusion of bicycle lanes. We want bicycle lanes. We're a green company. We want safety in the streets, and we want everybody to be able to use the streets. Monitor Street in particular is a very incorrect street to run it down. There's opportunities on Kingsland Avenue to widen bike lanes and narrow roadways to allow for both pedestrians and bicycles and vehicles on a roadway that does not interfere with Broadway Stage's operations. So we're here tonight to ask you to please not vote on the Transportation Committee's action that's in front of them right now on Kingsland Avenue with the Department of Transportation, and allow Broadway Stages the opportunity to participate with other stakeholders in the industrial business zone to discuss the
Please summarize, Mr. Platnick. You only get 2 minutes.
I'm done. Thank you very much, Ms. Fuller. I appreciate your candor. And again, I'll take a pause on that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next speaker is Austin Corey.
Hi, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I was just actually had the presentation to accompany what Mr. Palatnik said, so I don't know if this is would be applicable to just a 2-minute speech, because that was just kind of meant to accompany him. So I don't know what you guys would like to be done about that.
Next speaker.
That's it on speakers.
Thank you, Joanna. Next up is committee reports. And I must remind everybody that we have nominations at 8 o'clock. And committee reports, what I've noticed is that very few people sent an email to the office that they wanted to give a report. We got reports, but some people didn't say they want to give a report. So therefore, my list might be incomplete because, as we said, we sent an email to the office that we want to give a report. That list is generated and given to me. But since people didn't say they was giving a report, I know there's reports, but people didn't say they was giving them. I don't know if they as written or what. But anyway, I'd like the board to vote on changing our June meeting from June 14th to June 7th. The executive board discussed it, and we recommend that we change the meeting to June 7th. So I'd like a vote on that by the full board.
I make a motion, Del Teague.
Second.
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 Okay, so motion has been made and second that we change the June board meeting from June 14th to June 7th. All in favor?
Aye.
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 We have to do a roll call, Madam Chair.
Oh, I'm sorry. Roll call vote, please.
Del Teague made the motion. Who was the second, please?
I second.
Phil Cabernego.
May I ask a question?
Yes, you may, if it's pertaining to the issue.
Yeah, I was just curious why the change?
Because the extension for the virtual meetings expire before that. So it's only a few days. So we decided that maybe we would move it before the expiration.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Dino Argento,
Yes.
Bogdan Bakarowski,
Yes.
Lisa Bamonte,
Yes.
Gina Barros,
Yes.
Tion Brooks, Eric Brusitis, Thomas
Yes.
Burrows,
Yeah.
Did you vote, Eric? I didn't hear you.
It was yes, Jerry, yes.
Thank you. Iris Cabrera,
Yes.
Phil Caponegro,
Yes.
Frank Carbone, Stephen Chesler,
Yes.
Mike Chirichella,
Yes.
Teresa Cinciata, Giovanni D'Amato, Aaron Drinkwater, Arthur Davidowski,
Yes.
T. Willis Elkins,
Yes.
Julie Amanda Foster,
Yes.
Joel Goldstein, Joel Gross, Katie Denny Horowitz,
Yes.
Sonia Iglesia,
Yes.
Moisha Indig, Bozina Kaminsky.
Yes, Jerry.
Thank you. Ryan Coonan,
Yes. Yes.
Yoel Landau, Marie Lianza, Abraham Leibovitz, Yoel Lowe, Trina McKeever,
Yes.
Sante Michelli,
Yes.
Toby Moskowitz, Martin Needleman, Rabbi Niederman,
Yes.
Karen Nieves,
Yes.
Mario Domrick,
Yes.
Janice Peterson, Dana Racklin.
Here.
How do
So
you
yes or
vote?
no, Dana?
Yes.
Sorry, yes.
Isaac Sofer.
Yes.
Thank you. Robert Solano, Del Teague,
Yes.
Tommy Torres,
Yes.
William Vega,
Yes.
Maria Vieta, Stephen Weiberg,
Yes.
Simon Weiser,
Maria Vieira, yes.
Yes.
Simon Weiser,
Yes.
Samwise, yes.
$33 in the affirmative. Motion carries.
Thank you, Jerry.
Chair, can I ask a question about this?
About what?
Chair, didn't we send a letter to the governor asking to keep this meetings virtual? Some board members had mentioned that they still don't want to meet in person. Did we get a response from the governor about that?
That's something we need to discuss at the executive board meetings, Simon. We didn't discuss it.
But didn't we send a letter asking about it?
If I can, the governor did not respond to the letter. The governor made changes to the law. The changes to the law are currently being reviewed by the New York City Law Department. However, the virtual meetings sunsets on June 9th. Does that answer your question?
Got it.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you, Simon. Okay, landmarks, Trina.
Hi, thank you. You know, I'm not feeling great, so for clarity, instead of speaking my report, I'm just going to read it. It's not very long.
Okay.
So it's 7 Fillmore Place. It's an exterior facade plan, and located within the block that is Fillmore Place Historic District. 7 Fillmore Place stands out, whereas most of the district consists of intact 3-story Italianate multifamily brick residences built in the mid-19th century. 7 Fillmore Place was built in 1912 as a 2-story garage with elaborately detailed brickwork. Horizontal brick banding across the facade, a corbelled brick cornice with frieze panels composed of recessed brick, window openings built with radiating stone lintels. Over the years, there have been many non-historic additions, alterations to the building, such as a new roll-down security door, security bars, metal balcony added to the second floor, covered with a metal awning. All of the historical windows have been replaced. Abandoned for decades and defaced, the current owner bought the structure in 2021. He plans to make 7 Fillmore Place his single-family residence. The owner proposes to painstakingly restore all of the elaborate detailing in the brick facade. The original window openings will be restored. New single pane painted aluminum window frames will be painted a dark charcoal. Whereas the garage entrance, where the garage entrance had been, a set of 5 horizontal louvered panes, similar to the windows, will be installed. The glass panes on the ground floor will be tinted for privacy. A metal picket fence painted to match the windows will be installed along the sidewalk in front of the building. Additionally, a clear glass guardrail will be installed on the roof. The original bulkhead will be enlarged to 15 feet with a 5-foot wide black metal canopy running its width. Solar panels will be installed on the canopy. Skylights on the bulkhead of the roof, and the space in front of the bulkhead will be open space for the building, guarded by the glass guardrail. Note, the glass guardrail and the canopy are visible from the street. While committee members praised the restoration being done to the brick facade, and although not LPC relevant, the energy efficiency of the solar panels, many found the contemporary windows out of context with the character of the historic block where double hung 2x2 windows are found. There were also comments about the light color of the bulkhead, which the architect said was chosen to match the stucco side of the building rather than the bulkhead in the original historic photo, which appears darker. Committee member Sante Michelli, who did not object to the windows, found the elevated bulkhead obtrusive and the canopy unnecessary, as the solar panels could be placed elsewhere on the roof if the owner did not intend to create a roof deck. And he argued, without a roof deck, the glass guardrail would not be necessary. Allowing the roof deck, whose rail, although glass, is clearly visible, creates a potentially problematic precedent on the historic block. Much heated discussion ensued before and after a resolution was put on the table. And here's the recommendation made by me and seconded by Dell. The recommendation is to vote in favor of a certificate of appropriateness for the proposal, citing the detailed restoration of the brick facade with reservations about the choice of single pane windows, the size of the canopy on the bulkhead, and the glass guardrail. Could these be made less visible from the street? And the color of the bulkhead, could this match the historic precedent? There were 7 votes in favor and 3 votes against. And so that's my report. And do we want to vote on the resolution?
Make a motion.
Madam Chair, I need to say a few words to the full board because this is a very concerning issue. If I can be,
Go ahead.
If I can be recognized. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm still astonished. I said that publicly. I do not understand how the committee go in such a direction. First, it is one block of a historic district. It's one block. We have 2 historic districts here in this community board. One in Greenpoint with 4 blocks and a universe of development all around us. There is plenty of freedom. I heard at that meeting. I believe that I am knowledgeable. I make technical analysis when landmark application come through us. I study, I look at the map, and I have understanding of why I can read the drawings. I have understanding of the design. And when I hear my fellow committee member, I heard Bosina Kaminsky, I heard Dale, everybody said, oh, I feel that we are too restrictive sometimes. We have to be restrictive. First, because landmark already has law and rules, and we are calling into the laws and that rules. And we have to make sure that this very vulnerable fabric, of which Fillmore Place was actually praised by the architect that night when did the presentation, saying that the building were looking intact. They were looking intact because there's been a rigorous approach thanks to a landmark that in the past has been quite healthy. And unfortunately, I'm questioning how the Landmark Commission is going today. Maybe they've lost funds today. You know, they didn't nominate any building in this last year. And so this is concerning. We are going to approve, and the board needs to be aware, this is a development. This is a private owner that has purchased this building at a substantial market price and want to expand. It's a form of development into the roof, and anything that were designed there, the canopy, the skylights, with the narrative of adding this solar panel, which they can be added in many other way. The reality is, and they are actually on the internet, there were a rendering of the potential when they were selling the space, and it's literally the roof has become a real estate place, and there is a railing. This is never happened. I live in a historic district. I live in a landmark building. It's never happened that a glass railing is running along the cornice. We are praising the restoration of the brick. This part of the deal. You buy a landmark building, you like it, you're gonna do conservation. That's why it's called conservation. You're gonna restore the brick. It's nothing major. They're pointing the brick, they're repairing some brick. The rest needs to be done accordingly to the rule of landmark. Otherwise, this is going to be a terrible precedent. They're going to come into the block. Everybody that has restored the building according to the landmark rule and regulation is going to ask to expand, their development on the roof, to put railing, and maybe this will be less visible because its glass shouldn't be there. It's an alteration. And then we are concerning the window. Of course, the window should be done historically in an appropriate way, but it is not the window the irremediable intervention. The intervention is taking this roof and turning it into another livable space. And 3 skylights on top, and then we are told that the reason why they can put the solar panel on top and they build another protruding canopy. These never happened in the history of landmark application. And I have to hear from my committee member, we feel that we are too restrictive. We should be restricted with a 40-story tower development, not with a one little building that is purchased by a millionaire. I'm going to resign for the committee if we go in this direction. I feel there is a lot of committee members that have no interest on landmark, and people vote because in the name of freedom and do whatever you want. For the same reason they demolished Penn Station, for the same reason we have lost valuable piece of our architecture, of our heritage, of our identity. This is not because I don't like architecture. I love modern architecture. I love intervention and modern. It's about being rigorous. Let landmark commission decide, but we can say, oh, just put a railing, just, expand your development on the roof. Everybody will do. It's really upsetting, and it's very astonishing. And I always praise to have a certain integrity and trying to bring some knowledge and some input that are positive. And I cannot sustain this the superficiality and the corrupted process that this involves. And so to the full board, we should not vote in favor of this. This is a dramatic precedent. I'm done, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Santo. We hear your passion. Anybody else want to speak on this issue? I don't see any hands up.
Yes, I have my hand up.
Speak.
Go ahead, Dale.
As chair of this committee, I want to make a statement here, and I want to say that this committee is an extremely dedicated, devoted, hardworking committee. And to accuse the members of the committee of not caring about landmarks is really, I think, very disingenuous. We put in a tremendous amount of work on every application, including the landmarks. And I will say that after much discussion, for many reasons, the majority of the committee decided that this and vote to recommend that this application be approved. And it is not accurate to say that we said we shouldn't be so restrictive. There were reasons for our saying that that we would approve the application. And although Dante feels that the people don't need to have the solar panels in the way they had them, the developer did give an explanation as to why they needed the skylights and the solar panels. In any case, people can have different opinions, but I want to just say that the members of this committee don't deserve to be insulted, and after all of the work and the hard work and time and energy that they put into both the land use and landmarks applications, I really think it's really as I said, very disingenuous to say that they don't care.
I-
And I also want to mention that this is a block where, in the past, when we've had an application that really, just didn't seem to fit in, the people who live on that block were very, very quick to come and oppose the application. No one came to oppose this application. So people can vote the way they want. But
I don't agree with you, because I tried to point at a lot of technical issues and nobody had pointed, because maybe they don't have the knowledge, and they don't have to have the knowledge and the understanding. The reason why they're putting, I'm not against the solar panel, but the reason why, let's define what is a bulkhead. A bulkhead, it's a little box that can allow you to have a stair to have access on the roof. They've increased the height to 10 feet when you need 7 feet. It's not about comfort. They have created the bulkhead to become practically a livable space. And so they've added 3 large skylights on top of a bulkhead. And the reason why they took the solar panel, and they built another canopy so it's extremely visible, is because they want to turn the bulkhead, they have enlarged it into a livable space. And when
It's not a livable space. It holds the mechanical. They were very clear about that. It's the staircase.
Now he's going to give lights to the stairwell down there. I'm telling you. And then there was the door at the entrance, the carriage door. They said, oh, they were going on the street. They have space. The door, if he has to open inside, because it's an historic building, he has to open it towards the indoor. And just let's go online, let's go on Google, and he's there. He's there. That's how they presented when they sold the building.
I'd like to make a comment.
No, I have, Steve, I
Say
have
one
it.
more thing. Again, we're insulting the intelligence of the people on the committee. I do not agree that the people on the committee did not understand what was going on, and that extra space that you're talking about as living space, as Trina's pointing out, it's going to be used for holding the mechanicals. So we can disagree with each other, but we don't have to insult each other and just to assume that the people on the committee are ignorant and don't care. That's all.
Okay, Chancellor?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, I think the essence of
Probably in an hour. Are you up?
Sante's points are very important.
That's
I
probably an
was
hour and a
one
half
of the
later.
committee members who voted against.
Excuse me, Jan, please, Jan, mute yourself.
I thought I was.
You're not.
I was one of the committee members who voted against the motion, because I agree that this Fillmore Place is a very small historic district. It's very well preserved. And by allowing all this kind of modern structural additions to the top, will set a terrible, really terrible precedent that the Landmarks Preservation Committee they love rooftop additions. And I feel like it just opens up the floodgates for property owners to build modern additions on their properties. And I think in terms of, we're totally welcome the idea of having, a sustainable non-fossil fuel source of energy. There are other options besides relocating the panels, but using something other than solar energy for the building. So I was troubled by this modern glass railing, and the canopy. It just it just goes totally against the spirit of restoring and preserving this historic building. I agree they did a wonderful job in their rendition of, the whole, the building in general, but I feel, and I think what maybe drove us the vote is that we were time constrained. We had another, big issue on the agenda. And so I think there was a pressure to kind of push a vote through. So I feel strongly that the rooftop structure should not be recommended.
I just want to mention that this was the first item. We spent a long time on this item, and well over an hour. Several of us, I think most of us, felt that we wanted to encourage the use of solar heating and solar energy. In any case, the majority of the committee, after a lot of thought and discussion, did vote to approve with the various considerations that Trina mentioned.
And the considerations are the glass guardrail and the canopy, that both
Yes.
visible from the street. And so that's what we're
Exactly.
asking Landmarks to give a second look to.
That's right.
Tom Burrows. Tom?
If there's no human use of the roof, why does it need a guardrail?
It's a human roof. I think it's an open space that they're creating, but the bulkhead itself does not have living space in
So
it.
when it becomes a
contains the
bar,
surface.
that'll be its rooftop drinking area?
No, it's someone's home and he wants to.
Yeah,
to
how
be
long's
able to
that gonna
sit up on
last?
his roof.
No, this is not
But I don't
a
see,
commercial space. This is
Dell,
a one
Dell,
family house.
Dell,
Yeah,
Dell.
sorry.
It's
I
a
don't see the
single-family
need for that
home.
railing on the roof. They don't need the roof. It's a garage.
It's a home. He's converting it into a single
They
family.
could build it, they could buy a home somewhere else. It's one block of historic district in the whole area.
Well, should we vote on the resolution and people can vote it down?
Is there any other discussion on this issue?
Jane has raised her hand.
Who?
Jane. Janice.
Am I
Jan
on now?
Peterson?
Is it on?
Yeah, I don't see your hand. Go ahead, Jan. Go ahead, Jan. Your mic is off. Unmute yourself, Jan.
I lived on Fillmore Place for many years, and and I think it's a beautiful block. And I would hate to see anything changing it. So I'm curious, when you said, did all the people on Fillmore Place know that these changes are being recommended and none of them cared?
You know
about
what? I sent several emails to the woman, her name is Nancy Wexler, who lives on the block, that she's the person that's represented Fillmore Place to come to the board. And I didn't hear back. I did ask the owner if he had talked to people on the block. Unfortunately, I didn't think to ask him when we were in the meeting, but he told me that he had spoken to people on the block, the people knew about it. I don't know. I've been away, so I haven't been able to visit the block, but I did make an effort twice before the committee meeting and again before this meeting to reach the people from the Fillmore Place Historic District.
Yeah, I'm just saying, are we in an emergency? Because that block, because I lived there, I always paid attention to the people coming. They had people after people after people coming to community board meetings for many years about different things that people were attempting to do with that block that they did not like. And I would hate to see people not knowing about it. So is there any reason that they cannot be given another month before we vote on it?
I'm sure it's on an LPC calendar, and if we don't, that's the way when things come to us, they come to us right before they go to the Landmarks. I mean, we can try and say that we want the people on the block to weigh in.
Because they really did work hard for so long that I haven't talked to anybody now, so I can't say differently from what you're saying. But I just always was admiring their effort to keep their block.
Can I make a motion? Can I make a motion?
Santo, I'm running this meeting, okay?
Yeah, Madam Chair, if you allow me, I'd love to make a motion.
Can you, can you allow me to run this meeting? Thank you. Jan, you finished?
Yes, I just said I think they deserve extra time just because they spent so much time building this block, this historic preservation, that I would hate to see something that just fell through the cracks.
Okay. Bozina?
Yes, first of all, I know my name was mentioned. I did made a suggestion to approve this project. I wanted at this point thank Del Teague for defending the community members who are part of the committee. We do spend a lot of time. We are a mixed bunch. Some of us have more experience, more knowledge of architecture, and but saying that we don't care about this community It's very insulting, and I don't appreciate that at all. I live on historic district street, which is Greenpoint Avenue, and there are so many places there that they are eyesore, and I don't know how that happened. This project, you know, I suggested that we should approve it because it had some things that we had talked about. We talked about the green energy. We talked about being within the guidance of the historic district. So, you know, just saying this and making this ruckus at the, you know, general meeting of the community board, I don't think it's fair. The committee voted, the committee approved it. If you want to change your, you know, opinion, that's your prerogative. But at this point, I think we should stick with whatever we have. Thank you.
Well, see, I believe you change your door in your building not according to landmark, right? Because that's should be a violation landmark, right? You didn't file. I check 110 Greenpoint Avenue, right? That's not a landmark door. So I know you care about landmark, but certainly maybe in your building you didn't went through the landmark process, right? So, but anyhow, I don't want to.
Okay, this is outrageous.
Yeah, this is.
Calm down,
Oh, that was
calm
bad.
down, everybody.
no,
Calm
not
down.
cool.
Now. Calm down, everybody. William Vega, we're not gonna get into personalities. William Vega.
Thank you. No one's questioning Sante's expertise, but the fact that he questions everybody's integrity and intelligence, I found it very insulting. And I didn't speak about it at the committee because, you know, we all have to be understanding, but to bring it up here at the community board, you know, we all spend a lot of time, and especially with our committee, we've sometimes been there past midnight because we do care. So that statement and our integrity and our lack of intelligence, I find it very insulting then, and I find it again today. I mean, as if we are supposed to be respectful to each other, and I find this behavior totally unrespectable. I just don't accept it. Thank you for your time, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Now, Santo, you said something about a motion?
Yeah, I make a motion to, you know, bring back to the committee, to have this applicant come back to the committee, you know, and reproposing something, you know, that is not that intrusive, that is not going to create such a dramatic precedent of developing the roof, putting a railing at the corners. That's what my motion is.
Chair, this is Del Teague. I made a motion earlier. I first made a motion to accept the recommendation. So my motion is on the floor if somebody wants to second it.
I have
Your motion.
a question or a process point.
Wait, we know that your motion is on the floor, Dale. It's already been seconded by the committee. Santo, does anybody want to second?
There was no, point of information, there was no second to Ms. Teague's motion. There was no second to Mr. Michelli's motion.
I second it. Simon, I second it.
What do you second?
Simon, I'm seconding the motion to approve the committee's recommendation.
Is there a second for Santo's motion?
I second Santos'
You
motion.
can't have both.
Oh, we got to vote one down, then come back and make the second motion.
Yeah.
Chair Fuller, I have a question about timing that I just would like the question answered before we vote. I don't have to ask it yet, but before we vote, I'd like to ask the question.
Well, it's now never, I guess.
I'm curious because I know that there's deadlines for the Landmark Commission. So if we don't vote tonight, how I understand it is their committee hearing will still go on with no input from us. So I think my question is if we do Sante's, then we won't have the LPC won't hear from us at all. But I wanted clarification.
That's right. That's correct.
Madam Chair, this is Julia.
Yes, Julia.
Can someone please tell me what Dell's motion was? Because I did not hear it.
It was in the report.
The motion was to accept the resolution. The resolution that I read before, that the committee is recommending.
Approve it.
Shall I can read it again if people
Yeah,
want.
because you went in and out. That's why I'm saying I didn't
Oh,
hear
did
what
I?
you said.
Yeah, I'll move closer. I'm not feeling great.
I
Okay.
understand.
Recommendation, okay, here we go. Vote in favor of a certificate of appropriateness for the proposal, citing the detailed restoration of the brick facade with reservations about the choice of single pane windows, the size of the canopy and on the bulkhead, and the glass guardrail. Could both of these be made less visible from the street? And the color of the bulkhead, could this match the historic photo?
So, Trina, was there an answer to Ryan's question about the time frame on
It's
this?
my
Do you know?
understanding that things are brought to us in the month that they go to landmarks, that they're on the calendar. I don't have access to the landmarks calendar, but that's usually how it works. And so if we don't vote on it, there will be no input from the, if we don't send a letter, there'll be no input from the community board.
If there was any delay, we'd have to notify landmarks that our recommendation would not be coming until after June 7th.
Which we could do, and maybe they would hold up, but I don't have any experience to know whether that's true or not. Usually these things come and go through. But we've never asked them to delay in my time on the committee.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
can we just hold the vote, have the roll call, and then decide after that what's going to happen?
Okay, can we have a roll call vote, please?
What are we voting on?
On the report.
The resolution, Jerry, that I read.
Okay, so the motion was made to accept the committee's recommendation on 7 Fillmore Place. The motion was made by
Del Teague.
Del Teague and seconded by who?
Didn't the report said Trina made the motion and Dale seconded? Isn't that what your
was within
report
the
said?
committee.
The report can't predetermine a recommendation at the board meeting.
Okay.
All recommendations, all motions have to be in person, in public view. So
Okay.
motions made by Del Teague to approve the committee's recommendation for 7 Fillmore Place. Who was the second, please?
Simon.
Simon, I seconded it.
Seconded. Thank you for clarification.
Thank you. Gina Argento,
Yes.
Bogdan Bakarowski,
No.
Lisa Bamonte,
No.
Gina Barros.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
No.
Thank you. Theon Brooks.
No.
You have to speak up, people.
No.
Thank you. Eric Berzadas.
Abstain.
Tom Burrows.
No.
Iris Cabrera.
No.
Phil Caponegro. No vote. Frank Carbone.
No.
Thank you. Stephen Chesler.
No.
Michael Chirichella.
No.
Teresa Cinciata. Giovanni D'Amato.
No.
Aaron Drinkwater. Arthur Dibinowski.
No.
T. Willis Elkins.
Abstain?
Julia Amanda Foster.
No.
Joel Goldstein. Joel Gross. Katie Denny Horowitz.
Yes.
Sonia Iglesias.
Yes.
Moisha Indig. Rosanna Kaminsky.
Yes.
Thank you. Ryan Coonan.
Yes.
Yoel Landau. Marie Lianza. Abraham Leibovitz. Yoel Lowe. Trina McKeever.
Yes.
Sante Michelli. Toby Moskowitz. Martin Needleman. Rabbi Needleman.
Yes.
Karen Nieves.
Yes.
Mario Domerick.
No.
Janice Peterson. No vote. Dana Reckland.
I am not muted.
Yes.
Jan Peterson.
No, I voted.
Bella Sable,
Abstain?
Isaac Sofer,
Yes.
Robert Solano, Del Teague,
Yes.
Tommy Torres,
Yes, yes.
William Vega,
Yes.
Maria Vieta,
Yes.
Stephen Weidberg,
Yes.
Simon Weiser,
Yes.
$16 yes, 15 no, 3 abstentions. Motion carries.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Tina. Economic Development, Toby. Toby's not answering the call. Land Use, Del Teague.
Thank you. All right, so this application was on 27 Stewart Avenue. It's a common law vesting application before BSA to complete construction of a substantially completed 8-story hotel. Before I get started here, I just want to mention that I did meet with Jella Prenga and Tony Matthias from BSA. I wanted to make sure that the application was not simply just for information to us, but that they really were interested in our concerns, if we had any, in our input, and they assured us that they absolutely were. And they also referred me to the case that I mentioned in my written report, so that we could understand what the what the factors are that they look at for these common law vesting applications. Just a summary of the case. The case says that what you look for to see if they've vested and they can be allowed to continue with the construction. You look for the idea that there's substantial construction, which usually is centered on how much of the foundation that they've done, and whether there is evidence that they've actually just abandoned the project, whether they have made substantial expenditures, will they suffer substantial financial loss if they don't get to complete, and then whether there are some overriding health and safety concerns. So the Paul Prue presented, and the hotel will be an 8-story building. They said that they have a lot of variety in the size of the accommodations, and so that they can allow a large variety of prices. And they're going to have they plan to have a holistically focused healthcare services that would be available to hotel clients and to community residents. They also intend to use geothermal heating, so that would make it the first geothermal hotel in the city. There was a roof bulkhead that I think some community residents were concerned about. I think the prior developer was thinking of using the roof to have events and maybe to show movies on that bulkhead. In any case, they've removed that. They have finished 75% of the excavation. 70% of the total foundation is complete. They said that they will suffer financial loss of at least $8 million if they're not allowed to complete. And there will be parking spaces because that's actually required. Now, the committee noted that there had been some concern, and we were also concerned about the fact that there is a part of that land is brownfield. So people at BSA encouraged me to make sure that they are actually in a brownfield program, and that the remediation is being overseen by DEC, and they are actually in the brownfield program. The remediation is being overseen by DEC, and it appears that they're almost finished with the remediation. And from our investigation, it seems that the remediation is moving along as scheduled and as approved by DEC. We also questioned the applicant's concept of the effect the hotel will have on the neighborhood. And at this point, the neighborhood there is basically industrial. He believes that the clientele and the visitors will actually help to bolster the small businesses that are in the area and the artisans that have been cropping up in the restaurants. And he also hoped that having a hotel using geothermal heating would be a good role model for future development. No one showed up in opposition to this. The applicant did reach out to Evergreen, which did not oppose. Karen Nieves did state that although generally she's not in favor of hotel development in industrial areas, she felt that this application could be approved or should be approved. She said that the applicant has a good history as a developer, and she felt that he had met the requirement of what's considered substantial construction within the meaning of these cases. And also she pointed out that he's done substantial remediation on this site, which really had been in very bad shape. So anyway, the committee voted to approve the application. 11 voted yes, 1 person abstained, and 1 person voted no. So I'll need a vote.
And it makes a motion.
Question.
Yes.
Was there, at the last meeting, we talked about how this project, although technically is in CB1, that it will probably have a greater impact on the neighboring community board. Was there any discussion or outreach with CB4 about this project?
No, and nor did CB4 contact.
No. I have to correct you on that. I spoke to the district manager of the community board 4.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Jerry.
And was there any, did they have a chance to weigh in on this project at all?
I made them aware of the meeting of the committee. To my knowledge, they were not present.
Okay, thanks, Jerry.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Ryan. We
I
can still use the hand raise if you want to ask a question.
I don't, it's not showing up on my computer. I apologize. The button. Anyways, I read the report and I was curious because I was not able to make the meeting. And the one thing I didn't understand was why they thought that the special hotel use permit was a such a fine. They never seemed to mention the special hotel permit. They mentioned their BSA and why they were applying for this, but they never actually directly said why they didn't want to do the special use hotel permit. And when I read that, like I went on and read the city council language, it's literally just a community discussion about whether a hotel would be appropriate and goes through city council. And I know that we as a board had really advocated for this process, this discussion, and especially considering that this is a border thing. I just didn't understand if they ever addressed why they didn't want to do the special hotel permit, considering that they bought this building in October for $12 million. It's hard for me to understand substantial. I mean, I don't know. I just didn't understand the whole thing about why they weren't entering into this discussion.
Well, it's my understanding that it's not applicable because they received their permits before that whole special permit was enacted. and it didn't really apply. So this is not that kind of an application. It's just, this is a common law vesting application to allow them to expand their time to finish the construction.
So the timeline on that seems really false to me, because you buy a building in October. It's not possible to get huge hotel permits through that I know. I mean, again, to me, I am just saddened that they took this BSA route instead of engaging in this special hotel permit process. I look forward to the first building that actually engages with this because it's new law and doesn't try to avoid it. And I just felt they never said, hey, like they never even acknowledged that was what every other hotel that again, they probably rushed up their purchase because this was in committee and going to get passed and get signed into law. And that, I don't know, to me, paying $12 million for a building in October and then saying that filing for the BSA instead of filing for the special hotel permit. I'm just curious why they didn't want to have this conversation. I know that you and I apologize for missing the meeting. And I just really, I feel like that specific issue is something that we really fought for and we really pushed and asked city council to have. And it just saddens me that the first building that comes through that should go through this process is skirting it. And I don't know. But again, I apologize for missing the meeting.
Oh, but Ryan, they did get the permit. They got the permit before all of that came into effect.
They bought the building at end of October. The law passed in December 27th. I've never seen any large building that gets, I mean, again, I hear what they said, and I know that what they're presenting to the board, but they didn't own the property for years. They didn't have the permit for years. They technically, when they presented last month, they didn't even have a whole finished idea of what they're putting up. They rushed to apply for the permit so they could come before us and put in this BSA application. It's like, again, they bought the building in the end of October of 2021. That law passed and was signed into law by Bill de Blasio, one of the last things he did in December of 2022. It's 2 months. They haven't been working for years. It's a technicality to say that they had the permits and they think. Now, I'm not freaking out because Karen Nieves has said they're a great developer and this is a great project and they normally don't support hotels. I'm just saying that we as community board should vote against this and let the BSA decide, because we advocated for this law. And to let the first building to say, well, they're a nice developer, they don't have to have this discussion with the community, especially on a building that should have a city council vote. They're on the border. The other CB should be directly involved. It's for us to pass and say, I don't know. I don't agree. But again, I don't know.
I just want to mention
I couldn't attend the meeting to ask them the questions myself. So again, I'm just pointing out to people that they bought the building in October. The law passed 2 months later, and we're now only 5 months in. They could have been engaging in the special hotel permit process this entire time instead of going the BSA route. They chose this route. And I'm like, if it's such an amazing project and the community would be so much better, why not engage in the actual special hotel permit process? It isn't again, it's lengthier in that you have to go via city council and you have to engage in the process. But to me, it seems a twist of the truth to say that they've had it for so long. They paid $12 million in October. Like, the law passed in December. I don't know. That math doesn't math to me.
Ryan, I don't think they could go the special permit route.
They could have as of January 1st. And I'm pretty sure that I'm curious when their BS, again, I feel like people should think about whether we as a community board are going to stand behind that we think that these hotels should go through this process or not.
They can't. Ryan,
I get what you're saying. I'm sorry I missed the meeting. I just wanted to point out that they paid $12 million in October. The law passed in thing, and we're now in May, and they're saying that that it's so crazy that they have to. It's a spin of words. And I literally, like, this is like the BSAs is one of the things I do at my job. I understand exactly. I know what they're doing. They're avoiding going for the permit because they're avoiding the community discussion. And my question is why? And in the meeting, everyone asked about the validity of the BSA, but no one specifically said, why did you avoid the special hotel permit? And they could apply, they could have on January 1st.
First of all, for the future, this cannot be done. This was the last. This could only be done this way with BSA because they had already finished a substantial amount of work on the project.
I mean, substantial is debatable, but I hear you.
Well, that's true, but I can only tell you because we've had these applications in the past, and 75% completion of excavation and foundation has generally been considered substantial, and that's all I can say. But it's my understanding that this is something that this is like the last remnant of the old situation where the hotel could build. As of right now, it's my understanding that they don't allow the hotels anymore in the industrial areas like this, in this kind of an industrial area.
Well,
but in any case,
M1s would have to come and do the special use hotel permit process. Yes.
Yeah, but they don't. But
okay, ladies, we're gonna have to hold off on this.
Vote. I hear what you're saying. I don't think this is something that can be used in the future. This was explained to us that this is, and BSA also said this is really the last one because they had started their construction before the special permit law was enacted.
Del?
Yes, thank you.
We're gonna have to pick up this conversation after the 8 o'clock hour.
Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah, it's 8 o'clock. It's time for nominations. Okay. Nominations are open for member at large.
Sonia nominates Phil Caponegro.
Are there any other nominations? Nomination closed. Nomination open for recording secretary.
I'd like to nominate Sonia Glacier. Simon.
I'd second that, Phil Caponegro.
We don't need a second.
Okay.
Is there any other nomination? Nomination closed. Nominations are open for financial secretary.
Nominate Maria Vieira.
Are there any other nominations? Nomination closed. Nominations open for third vice chair.
I'd like to nominate Gina Barros to Simon.
Are there any other nominations? Nominations closed. Nominations are open for second vice chair.
I'd like to nominate Del Teague to Simon.
Are there any other nominations? Nomination closed. Nominations open for first vice chair.
Simon Weiser.
Are there any other nominations? Nomination closed. Nominations open for chair.
I would like to have the honor of nominating Dallas Fuller to Simon.
Dallas Fuller.
Are there any other nominations? Nominations closed. Thank you, everyone. Del, you can continue now.
Okay, thank you. So, I need a vote if we're ready to vote.
If people close them, unmute themselves, please. We're getting a lot of background noise. Thank you.
So just to remind everybody, the committee voted to approve the application. 11 yes, 1 abstain, 1 no. So I would need a vote.
Can we have a roll call vote, please, Jerry?
Oh, wait, I think we need a motion, right?
Oh,
Phil Caponegro will make a motion.
William
I
Vega
seconded
seconds.
David Niederman.
Bill and Rabbi Needleman, roll call vote, please.
Sitting close enough, feeling close. Yeah. Sure.
Somebody
Mo-
has their mic open.
Motion is to accept the committee's recommendation for 1-27 Stewart Avenue. Gina Argento,
Yes.
Bogdan Bakarowski,
Yes.
Lisa Belmonte,
Yes.
Gina Barros,
Yes.
Tion Brooks, Eric Brusadas.
Yes.
Did I hear Tion? Did you vote?
Sorry, my microphone.
Thank you. Can hardly hear you. Thomas Burrows,
No, they should go through the special permit
Iris
process.
Cabrera, Phil Caponegro,
Yes.
Frank Carbone,
Yes.
Stephen Chesler,
Abstain.
Michael Chiricella,
Yes.
You're so cute. You're so cute. You're so cute.
Somebody, please, we know you got a cute baby in the house, but please close your mic.
Teresa Cinciata, Giovanni D'Amato,
No.
Erin Drinkwater, Arthur Dibinowski,
Oh.
T. Willis Elkins,
No.
Julia Amanda Foster,
Nope.
Joel Goldstein.
Yes.
Joel Goldstein votes yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Joel Gross, Katie Denny Horowitz,
Abstain.
Sonia Iglesia,
Yes.
Moisha Indig, Rosanna Kaminsky.
Yes.
Thank you. Ryan Coonan,
Nope. No.
Yoel Landau, Marie Lianza, Abraham Leibovitz, Yoel Lowe, Trina McKeever,
Yes.
Sante Michelli,
No.
Toby Moskowitz, Martin Needleman, Rabbi Niederman, Karen Nieves,
Abstain.
Mario Domerick,
Yes.
Janice Peterson, no vote. Dana Recklin, no vote. No. Thank you. Bella Sable, no vote. Isaac Sofer,
Yes.
Robert Solano, Del Teague,
Yes.
Tommy Torres, no vote. William Vega,
Yes.
Okay. Good.
Maria Vieira, no vote.
Yes.
Stephen
Yes.
Weiberg,
Yes.
Yes.
Simon Weiser,
Yes.
thank you.
Did you hear my vote? Yes.
No, Rabbi, but I have it now. Thank you.
Did you hear my vote?
How do you vote, Mrs. Peterson, before I tally?
No.
Thank you. Twenty yes, 8 no, 3 abstention. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay,
Jerry.
so you can read what I wrote about the Zoom follow-up meeting on 30 Franklin Street with the Lincoln Wrestlers people and how they're going to work with the developer. And the other thing we discussed was for possible future discussion. We discussed concerns about corporate entities purchasing large portions of real estate, and then therefore making it more difficult for individual home ownership. And so we thought we would raise this with the board and see if the board wants to have any further discussions on that issue.
Does that conclude your report?
And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Dale. Bylaws, Julie Foster.
Hello, everybody. I'm up. Well, we basically already took care of what I was going to report on, which was the nominations for tonight per our bylaws. Thank you, everyone, for participating. But at our bylaws committee, we had some concerns, and I see in the meeting, in the minutes, that also was answered. So I'm just going to read it, and everything was basically answered in our committee report. Nominations will take place at the main meeting per the bylaws. Elections will take place in June. It will be a voice vote of nominations and voting. After the nominations, we will have a list generated to all members so you can see who you are voting for. Because if we understood, some folks didn't understand what was going on at the last election. We also had some concerns, which is the attendance committee, but that was addressed in the minutes. Thank you, whoever addressed it. And the other committee issue was folks are coming to us with suggestions on how to change the bylaws and what they want to put in it. So we had let you know, and we're going to let everybody know, you must send your suggestions to the chair before you come to a bylaws committee meeting. So please, everyone, take note of that. And other than that, that's the end of our report. Any questions? No, nobody? Thank you,
Julie.
You're welcome.
SLA, Tom Burrows.
Yes. All right. So there is a written report. So hopefully everybody got it. I don't want to go through every little item one by one. New licenses, as a committee, we had originally approved 8 and denied 5, postpones 4, and 2 had been dealt with at prior meetings, so no action was taken. However, a couple of the approvals were conditioned on further outreach, and one of the applicants was asked to reach out to the Berry Street Alliance and to Mario Domerick in particular, and they haven't done that. So we're going to change. That's number 7 on the new license list. The committee has voted offline here to postpone that for them to set up a meeting with Berry Street, and Mary, I believe, is a part of that neighborhood to work out the concerns that the Berry Street Alliance has with the new places opening in that area. Item number 4 has a capacity of 600 or more, so we want them to do a full presentation to the full community board. As for the renewals, the committee voted to recommend approval of all the renewals except number 16, because number 16 is operating under a different name and never came to us with a change of name or ownership or whatever. So we're recommending that number 16 not be renewed. And as for the previously postponed items, 4 of those items we're recommending a denial on, 2 we're recommending approval, and 1 we're recommending a postponement. The postponement is on element 88. They have had a meeting with Wither Street, facilitated by Lisa Bamonti, but they're yet to have another meeting. So they're going to try and work out community difficulties on that one. And just a housekeeping thing, the previously postponed, there's 2 number 2s, I think, so it should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I would like if we can just vote on the whole report as it is.
Tom, I have a question.
Sure.
Okay, so 98 Berry Street. It's my understanding that in April of 2011, this community board, which I was on at the time, and we voted unanimously in favor of a commercial overlay from North 7th to North 10th that allowed for restaurants, outdoor seating, all of these things. It passed unanimously. It then went to the city franchise, which it passed. Marty Markovitz passed. Steve Levin brokered a deal which pushed it back to midway of the North 9th block. So the reason I watched the report, the reason why there's 11 liquor licenses, mostly restaurants, in that block stretch is because there's a commercial overlay, and that's where they're supposed to be. And so my question to the community board is, if we're saying that restaurants and bars shouldn't be in the places where there's a commercial overlay, are we then saying they should be on side streets? Because to me, it seems in 2011, it was unanimously decided that from North 7th to midway through North 9th and North 10th was where bars and restaurants with outdoor seating was supposed to be. And it went through a whole city council process. Again, voted unanimously by this board, April 2011. Heather Roslin, land use chair, massive discussions. It feels like it's precedence that it's okay. And I'm curious who Berry Street Alliance is. Is there 3 people? Again, they're not a group that reports who they are, how they make decisions. So I'm curious how a group with no sort of public decision making. I live as close to Berry Street as the owner, Shannon, the one person who speaks publicly for Berry Street Alliance is Shannon Phipps. I don't see there being public meetings. I don't see there being public recruitment. To me, it feels like a property owner that is boosting their one voice to feel like it represents many. But this was voted on in 2011. This has a commercial overlay. That's why there's liquor license there. So I'm just asking, are we as a board now saying that rezonings no longer hold weight and that individual people can come? I mean, I'm just asking, shouldn't the Berry Street Alliance be trying to repeal that rezoning? Shouldn't they have to go through the work of repealing the rezoning versus just sort of, I don't know, bullying individual restaurants into submission? And I just feel, again, I just want to say this was voted on unanimously by the board in April of 2011. It went through a city council process. There is a commercial overlay from North 7th to midway through North 9th and North 10th. And that's why there are so many restaurants there, because we as a community board said that's where all the restaurants on Berry Street should be located in mass. And then we leave North 9th to North 11th again, I don't know. It went through a rezoning. And I'm just curious how we're rewriting it and what the process is and how we stand on precedents.
Tom, can I just make a clarification because Ryan brought something up? It's Mary O'Damarock. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm listening. I'm here to vote on liquor licenses. I'm not doing any zoning, rezonings, or anything else. So, let Del T can answer that. Del T can answer that question.
My clarification is that I'm not a member of Berry Street Alliance. It is a real functioning group of neighbors in the community. And as far as I know, they hold regular meetings. So I just want to make that clear. And I am more than happy to go check out the new restaurant that's proposed for North 8th Street on your committee's behalf and report back to you. That's all I needed to say. Thank you.
Yeah, the sentence is an and sentence. It's outreach to the Alliance and to Mary. And they had said they were going to outreach to you before this meeting, and they didn't. So we can either vote to deny, or as I suggested, my committee just voted to say, let's do a postponement and encourage them to talk to Mary, just so they have a community board member down the street or wherever Mary is in relation to them, that she knows them. Mary did this for us last month on another item and checked out the place and got to know them. They got to know she was on the community board and we approved them, but we just want to have those connections. We did vote to approve with outreach to both the Berry Street and Mary. We didn't get a thing back saying they did the outreach. So that's what we told them, do outreach. So.
Okay. I didn't get any outreach, but I'm happy to, get the invitation.
Right. You did a great job on the last one, Mary. So, So anyway, there's a report
I
out
would like
there.
to make the motion to
Sorry,
recommend
my hand has been raised.
committee recommendation. Thank you.
With the change on number 7, that's a postponement, not an approval.
That's correct. That's correct, Tom.
But
Saying they had their
somebody
hand
said
raised for a question.
there's a bunch of hands up. Bozina has her hand up. Iris has her hand up. Katie Denny has her hand up. There's a
Some of
bunch
those
of hands
hands
up.
was up before, Tom, even yours.
Oh, okay. Okay, let me get rid of my hand. There, my hand's gone.
And everybody that spoke, lower their hands. Okay, now anybody else want to speak on this item? Raise your hand so Tom can see them.
I see Katie Denny Horowitz's hand is still up.
Thank you. Chair, may I speak? Great. So it's a question that I've been meaning to ask, and Ryan's inquiry made me think of it as well. Tom, is sort of when I've been reading the SLA reports, and since I am relatively new, it seems like there are sometimes requirements to have certain restaurants or bars or applications partner with community groups. And so I was curious how that's selected, if there's any vetting of those community groups, if there are any requirements in terms of transparency or outreach. I've seen I don't know if it's association or coalition, but I've seen something like a Greenpoint Alliance or something, which I was really curious about because I've been in Greenpoint for a long time and I had never heard of it outside of the SLA reports. And so I was curious how you identify those, and if you ever actually review the agreements that they have with the applicant before they're approved.
I have no response to that. But there is a motion on the floor.
Sorry,
Okay,
meaning that there's no information about it, or you just
It's a
don't
much
want to
longer discussion than the middle of a committee report.
Okay, a motion was made. Who made the motion and who seconded?
Ogden made the motion. I don't know if it was seconded.
I seconded it, Lisa Bamonte.
Oh, okay.
Okay, motion was made, Lisa, Bogdan and Lisa. Can we have a roll call vote, please, Jerry?
The motion is to accept the SLA committee report with the corrections to be made by the committee chair.
Just one.
One is a correction to be made by the committee chair. I didn't say how many.
Okay.
Gina Argento,
Yes.
Bogdan Bakarowski,
Yes.
Lisa Bamonte,
Yes.
Gina Barros,
Yes.
Tian Brooks,
Yes.
Eric Brusitis, Thomas Burrows,
Yes.
Iris Cabrera, Phil Caponegro,
Yes.
Frank Carbone,
Yes.
Stephen Chesler,
Yes.
Michael Chirichella, Teresa Cinciata, Giovanni D'Amato,
Yes.
Aaron Drinkwater, Arthur Dibinowski,
Yes.
T. Willis Elkins,
Abstain.
Julia Amanda Foster,
Yes.
Joel Goldstein,
Yes.
Joel Gross, Katie Denny Horowitz,
Abstain.
Sonia Iglesia,
Yes.
Moisha Indig, Rosanna Kaminsky,
Yes.
thank you, Ryan Coonan,
Abstain.
Yoel Landau, Marie Lianza, Abraham Leibovitz, Yoel Lowe, Trina McKeever,
Abstain.
Sante Michelli,
Yes.
Toby Moskowitz, Martin Needleman, Rabbi Needleman,
Yes.
Karen Nieves,
Yes.
Mario Domerick,
Yes.
Janice Peterson, Dana Recklin,
Yes.
Bella Sable, Isaac Sofer, Robert Solano, Del Teague,
Yes.
Tommy Torres,
Yes.
William Vega,
Abstain.
Maria Vieira,
Yes.
Stephen Weidberg,
Yes.
Simon Weiser, $25 yes, 0 no, 5 abstention, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. Tom, does that complete your report?
Yeah, our next meeting is the May 24th. And like I said, I'm going to be asking that the 3 items make presentations to the full board. 292 North 8th Street, which is for a hotel. 80 Williamsburg, which is for an entertainment venue. And then there's 78 Kingsland Avenue, which is a cabaret for more than 600 people. So I think those 3 all need to present to the full board so people can ask questions and know what's going on. I will send you an email requesting that.
Thank you, Tom. Much appreciated. Thank you much.
Okay.
Maria Vieira, budget.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I didn't think I was going to have a chance to present. So the Budget Committee met on Thursday, April 28th. The committee reviewed the March 30th budget reconciliation, which showed the current budget amount, expenditures, encumbrances, current balance. Upon review of the current reconciliation, and by the way, I'm straight up reading from the report. The report demonstrated substantial balances on a number of line items where there is underspending. And the underspending is due to the lack of in-person sessions and usage of digital communications versus all the paper that's distributed when we're meeting in person. The outstanding balances are in items like supplies and materials, office equipment, other expenses, general, also office furniture, books and subscriptions, telephone and other rentals. The current balance is $9,000, or was when we met, $9,058, of which the former mentioned items represent $8,217. And there's no anticipation of spending down that amount within the next 2-month period. So the members of the committee that were present discussed, budget modification, submitting a budget mod to OMB to reallocate those accruals for uses that speak to a public benefit. A suggestion was made by the district manager where he mentioned that there is a lack of staff capacity at the office. We all know that Marie is currently on leave. Therefore, there is a staff shortage. So the suggestion was to hire a temporary office worker to address the staff shortage. And the committee members that were in attendance agreed that that would be a prudent use of the funds so that a budget modification should ensue. But of course, we didn't have quorum. So what did happen was that there was a request sent to OMB to gauge the potentiality for a budget mod that would speak to the hiring of a temporary office worker, and OMB responded that yes, that we could do that if need be. And the committee did vote via email in approval of moving forward with the budget mod to hire a temp worker to fulfill the duties that are now lagging, maybe because of the shortage of staff. There was an affirmative vote by the majority of the committee. And today we are now speaking about an approval that was sent by OMB to hire a temporary staff worker. The cost of that is going to be $6,923. the worker will be paid at a rate of $26.73 per hour. The person will work 7 hours a day. It's going to be 37 days, anticipating that at the culmination of that time, that Marie will be back, hopefully. So that again speaks to $6,923. The balance of that will be spent on office equipment, an air purifier, and hopefully, I don't know what's going to happen moving forward after the June meeting. If we will return to kind of an in-person model, those items will be spent on the materials that, you know, were saved during all of this time where we didn't kill so many trees by distributing so much paper. So we have to replenish in the event that that's the case. So, is there a motion to approve moving forward with this request to hire a temporary office worker while Marie is on leave so that person can fulfill those duties, hopefully, for the next 2 months?
Motion to approve, David Niederman.
William Vega seconds.
Thank you.
Motion has been made by, motion made by Rabbi Needleman, second by Reverend William Vega to accept the committee's recommendation to hire someone. Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Jerry, are you there?
He's probably dealing with the paper.
I'm here, I'm writing. Yeah, I can't do both at the same time. Motion is to accept the committee's recommendation. Motion was made by Rabbi Needleman and second by William Vega. Gina Argento,
Workers.
Yes, 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 Jerry. it's
Bogdan
Gina.
Bakarowski,
Yes.
Lisa Bamonte,
Yes.
Gina Barros,
Yes.
Tion Brooks,
Sorry, yes.
Eric Brusadas,
Yes.
Thomas Burrows,
Yes.
Iris Cabrera, Phil Caponegro,
Yes.
Frank Carbone,
Yes.
Stephen Chesler,
Yes.
Michael Chirichella, Teresa Cinciata, Giovanni D'Amato, Erin Drinkwater, Arthur Dibinowski,
Yes.
T. Willis Elkins,
Yes.
Julia Amanda Foster,
Yes.
Joel Goldstein,
Yes.
Joel Gross, Katie Denny Horowitz,
Yes.
Sonia Iglesia,
Yes.
Moisha Indig, Hosanna Kaminsky,
Yes.
thank you, Ryan Coonan,
Yeah. Yes.
Joel Landau, Marie Lianza, Abraham Leibovitz, Joel Lowe, Trina McKeever,
Yes.
Sante Michelli,
Yes.
Toby Moskowitz, Martin Needleman, Rabbi Niederman,
Yes.
Karen Nieves,
Yes.
Mario Domerick,
Yes.
Janice Peterson, Dana Racklin,
Yes.
Bella Sable,
Yes.
Isaac Sofer, Robert Solano, Del Teague,
Yes.
Tommy Torres, William Vega,
Yes.
Maria Vieta,
Yes.
Stephen Weidberg,
Yes.
Simon Weiser. Thirty in the affirmative, motion carries.
Thank you, Jerry.
Okay, so that concludes the report for the board budget committee. We will probably reconvene, hope not in July, but maybe at the end of June to discuss the closing of the budget season. Thank you very much to all of the committee members and to the board. And with
Thank
that,
you.
peace out, homies.
Thank you, Maria. Environmental protection, Chancellor.
just a recap for Ms. Vieira. I'm happy to report that through the use of people that I know within the city administration, we were able to connect with the vendor who provides the office temps for government, because the city has a contract, and we're hopeful to get a worker tomorrow morning. Because I have to call them first thing in the morning with the approval, and then they will send a worker that they have handpicked for us. So I'm very happy. I thank the board for approving this. We really need the help in the office. There's a lot of things going on, as you all know, and we're good to go. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jared.
Thank you to the board, to the members.
Thank you, everyone. Environmental protection, Steve Chesler.
Thank you. Yeah, we don't have any voting items, so I'll just give a summary recount of the items that we addressed in the meeting that we had on the 4th. And the first item was 470 Kent Avenue. That was applying for a Speedies permit, which is a state pollution discharge elimination system permit, which allows them to basically treat construction dewatered groundwater as part of their remediation of the property. 470 Kent at the corner of Division. The plans for the property are to build a mixed use development heavy on residential. And so we just, we have so many developments in the waterfront. We just wanted to kind of hear what's involved with this process. So we had Matt Vigiano from Kaiser representing developers, and Matt Carroll, who's the environmental consultant and remedial engineer. And essentially they, the water that they capture that's contaminated, they're what I call volatiles, semi-volatile organic compounds that they capture and settle into tanks, and then they go through essentially carbon filters that capture most of the contaminants, and those are basically disposed off-site, and then the water is released into the river through a it's called Division Street CSO outfall that's right nearby, and that was really in a nutshell. It takes the burden off the sewage and stormwater system. They're looking into processing, doing similar with the wastewater post-construction with the development. Two Trees is applying for a permit to do that as well, where they're recycling gray water and then treating, water that needs disposed of locally, and then disposing it and treating it and then releasing it into the river rather than overloading or overburdened system, especially during storms. One thing that came off was a little bit, out of scope for our environmental committee, is that the street end at Division Street, it's along, the waterfront near Wallabout Channel. Will Sutton's brought up if that's something the developer would consider, developing and connecting to their waterfront public access area that they have to create. And they didn't really say they had plans for it. But Eric Mercedes, who's on our committee, thought he could bring that up in the transportation committee and with Brooklyn DOT, if there's something they can do there. Any questions about that item? All right. The second item was a state superfund program for 568 Grand Street, which is right near Lorimer. And it's basic 0.0087 acres. It's a small site, but it's in this commercial mixed-use district of commercial and residential. And the plans are to turn into 8-story residential building. And so one of the questions is why a Superfund program versus a brownfield. And it does not have to do with the level of contamination. I should just mention that the project manager from DEC, Sadiq Ahmed, was there, along with William Bennett from DEC, and then Anthony Pareto is the project manager from New York State DOH, one hand as well. And essentially, the developer they're putting forth an interim remediation measure so they can pour their foundation and take advantage of the expiring 421A, tax abatement program. And by going through the Superfund program, that they have a better chance of doing that versus the Brownfield program, even though they won't be able to get tax breaks from the Superfund program. And the site, was, groundwater contamination, soil vapor, soil, heavy metals, and mostly excavation going on there, and setting up, the vapor barrier, establishing that between the new fill and the development. And the question, the main concern we had, as we do with a lot of these, is notification of nearby buildings and proximity, residents nearby. And the DEC says they send notifications to the property owners, and by law they need to to inform the tenants. And the DEC supposedly reviews those letters before they go out. But it just makes us very nervous. So any questions about that? That's a lightning round version of that. Okay. And then we moved into just some kind of old business, new business, and updates. I guess we're up about 10 days ago, the board received a letter from the tenants at 5 Blue Slip, which is part of the Greenpoint Landing complex. They wrote it to their building management company and to the board, and they cited concerns, quality of life concerns, specific to the environmentals. It's being across the street from the Newhart Superfund site, where a portion of that building is currently under demolition, and how that might affect the water, like drinking water, showering, etc., and also the water in Green Pond Playground across the street. And so the committee basically felt like we, since they addressed the board, that we invite DEC and DOB and the tenants to come to our next Environmental Protection Committee meeting. We're trying to schedule that the first week of June, and we're trying to get all the parties together for that. Another notice I received was basically a newsletter from National Grid touting their new fossil-free energy initiative, which basically would harness renewable gas and green hydrogen technology. And both of those, are very specific to our neighborhood, as the quote unquote, the North Brooklyn pipeline, the MRI project, is currently stopped in East Williamsburg, but it's supposed to go through Greenpoint. And they told the board during a previous hearing that they eventually would, flow green hydrogen through that. And the renewable gas would be basically from processing solid waste at the Newtown Creek wastewater treatment plant. But we have issues. We want to talk to them about how viable those things are. They've been talking about the renewable gas for like 10 years, and we're just wondering, like, so, what is going on with that? And there's serious questions about the green hydrogen, like how is it, truly fossil fuel, source of energy, because the production of that can involve fossil fuels. So we've invited them to come in. We're still waiting to hear for them if they will attend at that same meeting. And we quickly addressed the Newtown Creek Monitoring Committee, aka NCMEC. We wrote a letter to them saying that we wanted deeper funding or more robust meetings, but it hasn't happened. And so, what was common, Laura Hoffman, who's a committee member of the board, citing that they have certain milestones that they need to achieve that they're in trouble achieving. And so, as Willis emphasized, the funding is less important than actually holding the meetings and giving a chance to the community to, hold this DEP, set daylight on what they're doing and the issues with the plant. So it's something we need to follow up on. And just quickly, just with updates related to Town Creek, the Superfund process with that is still ongoing. Currently, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers performing analysis regarding authorization or deauthorization of shipping navigation in the creek and determining how deep the creek needs to be, which will inevitably affect how much dredging is done, which inevitably will affect how much investment the potential polluting parties could potentially invest in the remediation. So, feel free to attend the Newtown Creek CAG meetings are open to the public, so feel to attend those. But I think at the right moment, the board potentially could weigh on that and hold a committee meeting or hearing about that. And we spoke about we need to brought up air quality issues along the creek. So if you like with open air pollution, we have this new park on the Under K Bridge Park that's near potentially noxious businesses, but it was brought up balancing businesses surviving in our current economic climate, but also just addressing just the persistent contamination of our air and the abuse of our residents for so many years. And the Grant Street Bridge came up, that design came up, that was approved supposedly by CB1 and CB5, but Eric Brissett, who's chair of Transportation Committee, said that they have a presentation soon to the committee, but supposedly at the end of this month, but he needs to confer with DOT about that. And we also need to focus on the district needs statement as it relates to environmental protection, huge issues continuing with contamination, legacy, and current, and with obviously climate change being surrounded almost entirely by water. And William Vega noted that their university students with the City University who are studying green infrastructure, and that something potentially we want to connect them to what we're doing here on the board. And I think that is it. The Grand Street Supervan program presentation is attached to the report. And I don't know if anyone any questions about anything that I talked about. All right. Well, I just want to thank the committee. A really, really great, productive meeting. The committee is really, kicking butt. So, yeah, look for a meeting in the first few days of June, but we need to get confirmation. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Chester. Transportation, Eric, and we're running out of time.
I know. Thank you, Madam Chair. So we had a number of items that came before us that require a vote this evening. The first is the intersection of Broadway, Flushing Avenue, and Graham Avenue across from Woodhull Hospital. Those of you that know it know how treacherous it is and has been. DOT presented a plan that they think that will mitigate a lot of the conflicts, especially with pedestrians. I'll just say that the committee liked the plan overall. There were some concerns with lighting, which came up in the motion to approve it. And I will just read that motion. It was made by Kevin Costa, who is a non-board member, seconded by Mr. Paul Kelterborn, also not a board member, but an active member of the committee. Community Board 1 to draft a letter of support as presented with the following recommendations: additional lighting where possible, install additional bicycle parking, review the current daylighting and add daylighting where possible. And that was approved without abstentions, with Mr. Costa and Mr. Kelterborn also voting. So this work would begin in early June of this year, and hopefully will be completed by the end of the summer, if not sooner. And the plan is attached to the proposal is attached to the report. So I need a motion to approve, or
I would like to make the motion.
Motion.
William Vega seconds.
Eric, I have a question about the outreach to the hospital.
yes. So DOT
I
had
can't
done
believe they
outreach.
haven't gotten anybody.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is that this is just a technicality that Woodhull sits in CB4. So
Yeah, but really.
3.
no, I know. 3. Sorry, 3. Sorry. Sits in CB3. They did do outreach to the hospital. Most of the work is on the southwest corner, where it ties into Graham. It changes that turn. There was consultation with MTA to ensure that the buses could still make that turn. And that the access
They
would
really should work with Jessica Arocho, so because she keeps the whole staff informed in the hospital, like what's going on around the hospital, what's going on with services around there. Marie used to be on the advisory board, but we never got somebody to go back on.
I'm on.
Meetings. Oh, you're back on? Okay, so Marie Vieira is on their advisory board. She goes to their meetings every month, and they've got more information than imaginable. But it's keeping the staff and patients informed about what's going on there, because the construction and stuff is going to make it craziness. So a better outreach to Woodhull would really be important. So I don't know who do we light a fire under, but Maria will certainly tell you who needs to be talked to. Because they work well with us, right, Maria?
Excellent. So there's a meeting in 2 weeks, which I have to say, it would be really, really beneficial to speak to the advisory board, and not just the board. At those meetings, you have all of the heavy hitters from Woodhull Hospital, including Jessica Orocha, like Tom mentioned, and she's a shaker. She gets stuff done. So it would be good to attend that meeting if possible.
Okay, Maria,
If not, share information and I'll provide it.
Sure.
Excuse
I'll
me, can
reach
I
out.
add something?
To you. Go ahead, Jan.
I'm just saying is that I think this is part of the discussions we need to have. We can't hold now, but there's no reason that the hospital and the police department we don't have better coordination in terms of our having since we are the community board, that there has to be some way that we all work together in a new way, because it's not working very well now. And there's so many things that overlap that our committees, like Steve just talked about, the pollution and the breathing, all that, which the hospital does a lot of work on. I mean, just say that there should be really a meeting held, Maria, if you could hold one with some of the committee heads that relate to the hospital to work out a better way for us to coordinate and plan together, because the women's committee had a bunch of things too. That's all. Okay. I'm just tired of seeing us split up and fragmented and not being able to do coherent planning.
Well, Marie worked hard on getting the women's services improved at that hospital.
She did.
I think the thing to do is to attend one of the meetings, as I said. And, present all of these issues and try to get some feedback and involvement, not only from the CAB members, but from the hospital staff themselves.
All right, we went off the tracks there for a while, Eric. Sorry. Let's go back on the tracks. We went right off the rails, but the hospital.
I believe there was a motion and a second on the floor.
Hey, Eric, can I say something really quick? I would love us to remember here that why this came before the board, because a woman, Lakidra Thomas, was run over by a hit and run driver at that intersection, and our board asked the DOT to look at that intersection.
Right.
It's important to say her name.
Absolutely. And NYPD was involved. And Woodhull was contacted. I mean, how aggressive
Work with
did
Marie.
DOT?
Marie will get you then.
Okay, well, anyway,
Maria will get you in.
motion and second is on the floor.
As a point of information, Eric, I did
Yes.
notify Ms. Orocho. I sent her the schematic of the proposed intersection. I received no reply at all.
Jerry, how long ago was that? Sorry, I know there's a motion. I want to know.
It was, Eric, when did we have the onsite?
Oh, God.
I mean, originally,
It was,
DOT didn't
early
even
April.
notify. Originally DOT didn't even notify MTA. I went to Andy Inglesby, our rep from MTA. I said, "Do you know about this?" Because I felt it was a very tough turn for buses to make.
I agree.
I feel it's a tough turn for ambulances to make. So I notified the hospital. I notified Ms. Orocho. I notified Andy Inglesby. Andy Inglesby responded right away. I notified Inspector Vasquez at the 9-0. There was no reply. But there were two officers that came to the onsite.
Yes, they did.
Eric, you want to refresh everybody's memory of what they voting on?
Yes. So the motion was that for Community Board 1 to draft a letter of support as of the plan as presented with the following recommendations: additional lighting where possible, install additional bicycle parking, review current daylighting and add daylighting where possible, and it was approved without abstentions.
Okay, now who made the motion again? Who seconded?
believe-
Bogdan did make the first
Bogdan
motion.
and Maria?
I think William seconded.
Well, Bogdan just said out here. Okay, okay, who you said made the motion? Who you said made the motion, Eric?
Bogdan made the motion and William seconded, as far as I remember.
Is that correct?
Yes, I did.
I did second.
Yes, I did make the first motion.
Okay, Bogdan and Vega, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Gina Argento,
Yes.
Bogdan Bakarowski,
Yes.
Lisa Bamonte,
Yes.
Gina Barros,
Yes.
Tian Brooks,
Yes.
Eric Berzadas,
Yes.
Thomas Burrows,
Yes.
Iris Cabrera,
Yes.
Phil Caponegro,
Yes.
Frank Carbone,
Yes.
Stephen Chesler,
Yes.
Michael Chirichella, Teresa Cinciata, Giovanni D'Amato,
Yes.
Aaron Drinkwater, Arthur Dibinowski,
Yes.
T. Willis Elkins,
Yes.
Julia Amanda Foster,
Yes.
Joel Goldstein, Joel Gross, Katie Denny Horowitz,
Yes.
Sonia Iglesia,
Yes.
Moisha Indig, Bozina Kaminsky.
Yes.
Thank you. Ryan Coonan,
Yes.
Yoel Landau, Marie Lianza, Abraham Leibovitz, Yoel Lowe, Trina McKeever,
Yes.
Sante Michelli,
Yes.
Toby Moskowitz, Martin Needleman, Rabbi Niederman, Karen Nieves,
Yes.
Mario Domerick,
Yes.
Janice Peterson,
Yes.
Dana Racklin,
Yes.
Ella Sable,
Yes.
Isaac Sofer, Robert Solano, Del Teague,
Yes.
Tommy Torres, William Vega,
Yes.
Maria Vieta,
Yes.
Stephen Weidberg,
Yes.
Simon Weiser, (31 in favor). Motion carries.
Thank you.
Jerry, does that conclude your report, Eric?
No. The second item is, okay, so those of you that know the area north of Greenpoint Avenue, Kingsland Avenue, continues and actually makes a left-hand turn and still remains Kingsland Avenue around the water treatment plant. So there are a number of businesses there, Alaco Recycling, Broadway Stages, Metro Fuel, Storage Plus, as well as DEP and DSNY. So this, if you remember back in March, we had Willis Elkins had presented a plan to the committee regarding the necessary fixes there. It's been a mess for years. It's kind of a Wild West zone where trucks illegally park and store their vehicles. The roadbed is a mess. It's very dangerous to access the nature walk. We've been asking for years for fixes at this location, and so out of Willis's initial plan, DOT had come back because they're about to mill that whole area in about a week and a half or 2 weeks roughly, and then they're going to repave it. And taking that opportunity to do the redesign, DOT came to us with a plan which would remove the illegal parking, add parking spaces from anywhere from 3 to 14, depending on, because it's hard to assess because of the illegal parking, how many spaces are lost. But those will go away. The Jersey barriers that have been laid down by DSNY a million years ago actually were taken up this past week as in preparation for the milling, but probably also in expectation to get this plan done. It includes a protected bike lane, and I just want to say that there have been at least 5 different meetings with stakeholders about this plot. The ones that I mentioned, including Emily Gallagher's office and Lincoln Ressler's office and NYPD. And so the stakeholders that are most use this area have all been involved in the process. Concerns have roughly been made, and then there was a follow-up meeting to the so sorry, there's so many moving parts to this, it's very hard to condense into one brief statement. So the committee, when the DOT came to us in April, they presented the plan, but they also included some other elements that came under discussion regarding the bike lane, which you heard about earlier from the representative of Broadway Stages. We were very concerned that DOT had lumped this in with this plan. While we did have a constructive discussion about, connecting the bike network to Greenpoint Avenue Bridge, which is right next to this part of this field that we're talking about. We thought many of the committee members thought it should be a separate issue. And so at the end of the meeting, at the end of this item, the committee did vote to approve the plan as presented. But we did have a number of caveats, and I'll read the motion that was approved, and then I need to also mention the follow-up stakeholders meeting that happened. Okay, so the motion was made by Willis Elkins and seconded by Karen Nieves. Community Board 1 to approve the presented plan with the following recommendations. The DOT returns for a discussion on protected lanes on the connecting bike network, monitor queuing and safety obstructions on the north side, and if needed, removal of additional parking to allow for queuing for Alaco. request that DOT places this design for a future capital project to make the sidewalk extensions permanent, armoring the pedestrian spaces at the corners of Kingsland and Kingsland, where Kingsland makes the jog to the left and continues to be Kingsland, as well as the entrance to the nature walk. And it was approved without abstentions. And then at a follow-up stakeholders meeting, Mr. Preston Johnson, who had designed the plan, came back to us and addressed some of these issues. So we thought that we were going to have to do a capital project to get concrete at that left turn of Kingsland, and they were able to determine that DOT could do concrete there. And we were concerned that if they were just going to paint it and put flexible delineators or whatever, the trucks would just run right over them, or the traffic would just become a problem for pedestrians there. But we would be getting, under the revised plan, we would be getting, which is also attached to the report, we would be getting concrete at those ends of Kingsland at the turn. And then there was a discussion about the parking, which is going to be now 90-degree parking on the south side of Kingsland. And while turning it 60 and making it's angled parking, but making it 60 rather than 90 degrees would lose some amount of parking spaces. Overall, there is still a net gain. And it does allow for more room on the roadbed, which provides more room for a loco to queue. It allows cars to travel and make that turn around to get in and out of Kingsland Avenue. And it still protects the sidewalk and adds lighting to the sidewalk on the south side to allow for, we had a lot of discussion about all the school groups that are going there for the nature walk and how dangerous it is, and could NYPD put a car there when they know that the school groups are coming. It was like this whole thing. And like I said, there were walkthroughs with DOT and NYPD and like all the different groups. And I think at the end of the day, at the stakeholders meeting, there was a consensus. This was not a committee meeting, but there was consensus that the 60-degree parking would be good, and that we would like to see, since DOT can just go ahead and do this concrete treatment at the corners to raise it and make it safer for pedestrians, we should go ahead and support that as well. So. So that's it. So we like what they want to do, north of Greenpoint Avenue into the nature walk to do all the protections. And so, are there any questions?
I have a question. So,
Question, it's Mary. Can
okay. So I saw Steve first and then Mary.
Okay.
all right, thanks. Yeah, just so in terms of, I mean, that area essentially seems like a truck stop in terms of just, inundated with parked trucks. So I'm sorry if I missed that, but how would that, essentially that'll be alleviated or dispersed?
Yeah.
now?
So yes. So what'll happen is, so right now there's, they're gone now, but Jersey barriers that separated Kingsland Avenue, and it's just Wild West. It was just DSNY put in there, according to Jerry had reached out to Paul Pulo, who had said that they had put him out there. And excuse me, and so the trucks could just like park there. There's no signage or regulations. You'll remember at the last meeting we had asked for specific signage for street cleaning as well, and so that NYPD could go in and enforce. And this way, by the inclusion of the angled parking, it actually creates a parking field on the south side of Kingsland Avenue. So the trucks that are normally parked against the curb, parallel parked against the curb, now would have to park in the slot, which they would not be able to do and just leave their car there, because there's all these regulations that would have to, street regs that would go in to prevent that. And so that eliminates that problem in that section. I think I'm stating it succinctly and correctly.
Thank you.
Mary?
Okay, so I would like to add a secondary and separate motion to support the presentation or suggestion made by the attorney today representing Broadway Stages to put a pause on the design until the concerned party is satisfied, or their concerns are alleviated, or something is redesigned. So that I'd like to add that.
Okay. No one has made a motion yet, but when the motion's made, we can, I guess, make that a friendly amendment. Any other questions? Karen?
Just, she made a motion, so I
Oh.
just want to make sure that we're, okay, separating this out. Because it's important that the north section of Kingsland moves forward, which Broadway Stages is in support of. Their concern is about the standard bike lanes on Monitor Street, which is separate from this project. Please understand that.
So that's what I said, Karen. I said it's a secondary and separate motion, only supporting the suggestion made by the attorney.
Well, you said you mentioned something about the redesign. The redesign is Kingsland Avenue, is the redesign. The north section,
north of
Greenpoint Avenue. So that's the dead end. It's not where Broadway Stages other, sorry, where.
Right, it's not
Broadway
where the
Stages
studios
other-
and the filming
Right.
studios are, it's where the offices are.
Yeah, no,
But there
so
are
what,
trucks there, and there is some filming that
I
goes on.
believe that he referred to the redesign concerning the bike lanes.
what the motion should be, can I say something, Eric? What the motion should be
Go ahead,
is
Gina.
that the motion, thank you, Mary and Karen. The motion should be that we approve the improvements north of Greenpoint Avenue onto Kingsland. Am I correct? Which would include the inclusion of the 60-degree angle parking and the addition for the concrete slabs to be built to have the pedestrian crossing. Does that sound right?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's what the motion should be.
Okay, I stand corrected.
Okay, Gina, do you want to make that your motion?
Yes, that would be my motion.
Is that the committee's recommendation?
No, the committee's recommendation, and I'll read it again. What the committee voted at the committee meeting was Community Board 1 to approve the plan presented with the following recommendations. The DOT return for, and this addresses what Mary's talking about. DOT returns for a discussion on the protected lanes on the connecting bike network. Monitor queuing and safety obstructions on the north side, and if needed, remove additional parking to allow for queuing for a loco. Request DOT places this design for a future capital project to make the sidewalk extensions permanent. Armoring the pedestrian spaces at the corners of Kingsland and Kingsland, as well as the entrance to the nature walk. And those were the recommendations, which yes. And then, as I mentioned at a follow-up stakeholders meeting, Preston Johnson came back with addressing this by adding the concrete at the corner, which was a concern that the committee had as part of this motion, as well as and then just a design phase to increase the size of the road bed, which would address the queuing issue, to give a little bit more space for the road bed for the traffic by making the 60-degree angle parking. So that was the recommendation of the committee. But like I said in the report, there was concern, and we did discuss it at length. The inclusion of the bike connections as part of this plan. It should be, we said that it should be a separate plan, and I'm happy to
So there should
put
be
it
an
on-
amendment then, Eric, for the bike lane. Like, in other words, the bike lane should not be part of this motion. It's a separate
Gina,
issue.
Right. Well, Gina, if you're saying your support, if your motion is to support the improvements north of Greenpoint Avenue for Kingsland Avenue,
Mhm.
that would automatically put the
But that's south, what you're gonna say now, Eric.
the
You're
south
talking about,
side.
yeah, south side is the bike lane. North is where we want to make a motion to have the inclusion of the parking and 60-degree angle.
Right.
Create the built out sidewalks for the pedestrians and to make,
and
to
the protected bike lane.
and protect, but we have to come back and rediscuss these bike lanes.
On the south side of Kingsland.
Yes.
Or Greenpoint Avenue, south side of
South
Greenpoint
side,
Avenue. Right,
south
right,
side.
right.
I think that should be a separate motion.
Yes.
Jean.
Right, I agree, Mary.
Well, the thing is that if you approve, if you approve the committee report, you're approving the inclusion of the standard bike lanes on Monitor and Kingsland.
Well, can you make that a clarification and then, bring it into another motion, a separate motion?
Can't amend the committee's recommendation without a meeting of the committee. Unless if he chooses to withdraw the committee's recommendation, then it's on him.
Say that again, Jerry?
Withdraw the committee's report.
I said you cannot amend a committee's recommendation as the chair of the committee. You need a meeting of the committee.
Right.
If you're choosing not to put forward the committee's recommendation, then that's on you.
I'm reading what the committee voted on. There are concerns about South Kingsland, but the committee did vote to approve the plan as presented with the caveats that I mentioned in the motion.
There's so many motions on this issue. It sounds like you need to go back to committee.
Please no. I'm sorry. This is Willis. Can I be recognized?
Go ahead, Will.
Okay. Can I make a motion right now? Is there a motion on the floor?
Third motion.
Oh, there's a motion already.
What is the motion on the floor?
The motion hasn't been seconded, so.
Okay, any seconds? I mean, for the motion on the floor, we can simplify this. We've gone through it for many months.
Who made the motion?
Gina.
Gina made a motion.
Mary Adama made a motion.
No,
Gina
but you
made a
have to,
motion.
the committee's recommendation is out there. So either there's a motion to accept or it just dies, and then you could take a motion from the membership. So the committee's recommendation is out there.
Yeah, and it was a second or two, wasn't it?
No.
Oh, there's
Was
no
there-
second.
Second it.
I don't even think there was a first.
Did Ryan just second the motion?
Ryan seconded.
But what are you seconding?
nobody
We
made a
don't understand.
motion.
No one, there's no motion to be made. There's no
There
motion
wasn't,
made.
no, there wasn't even first.
Okay.
Just
Okay,
with,
let's get this straight. Let's get this straight. Wait.
I rescind my
Nobody-
second. I
Nobody
would love-
made a motion
Okay.
on the committee's report and it wasn't second. So what we need is a motion on the committee's recommendation and a second.
so Eric, I think you
Mary, you're muted. Or who was that speaking?
I don't know.
It was Mary, but yeah, she's muted.
Okay, sorry. I was saying that, could you withdraw that motion so that we can reconstruct the language and take make a total new motion and include all the concerns that we just talked about?
According to
Mary,
Jerry,
there is
not
no
without-
motion as of yet. There's a committee recommendation on the floor.
Recommendation.
So
And
Eric,
Jerry,
you
we can-
want to
and we
withdraw
cannot
that,
amend
you want to
the-
withdraw the committee's recommendation?
Yes.
Okay, can I make a motion?
Go ahead, Willis.
Okay, for background for everybody, there is full agreement from all parties who have been involved that the latest plans presented by DOT significantly address all the concerns that were presented by the committee, and there's real pressing time to move forward with this. However, there is not full alignment on the plan south of Greenpoint Avenue, as we've heard tonight. So the motion is to approve the DOT plan for Kingsland Avenue, north of Greenpoint Avenue, and to ask them to come back to the next Transportation Committee meeting to further discuss south of Greenpoint Avenue, the plan that was presented.
I second.
And friendly amendment
Yeah.
to include 60-degree angled parking and concrete.
I'm
pedestrian-
saying as they most recently presented the plan.
Okay, fine. Okay. You want to restate that, Willis, just to be clear?
Sure. To approve,
Sorry.
to approve
There's so many-
the most recently submitted DOT plan, which includes 60-degree parking, concrete work, extended pedestrian space, north of Greenpoint Avenue, and that the DOT comes back to the next Transportation Committee meeting to further discuss the project south of Greenpoint Avenue.
And I seconds Karen Nieves.
Motion and second.
Can we have a roll call vote, please? Willis and Karen.
Willis, could you send me that wordage, please? Send me an email with that wording.
To approve the most
No,
latest.
send me an email
Send
with
an
the
email.
wordage. Yeah,
Send in an email? Okay.
yeah, I'll have it for tomorrow. Okay, so the new motion made by Willis Elkins and seconded by Karen Nieves, as stated. Gina Argento,
Yes.
Bogdan Bakarowski, Lisa Bamonte,
Yes.
Gina Barros,
Yes.
Tian Brooks,
Yes.
Eric Brusitis, Thomas Burrows,
Yes.
Iris Cabrera,
Yes.
Phil Caponegro,
Yes.
Frank Carbone,
Yes.
Stephen Chesler,
Yes.
Michael Chirichella, Teresa Cinciata, Giovanni D'Amato,
Yes.
Aaron Drinkwater, Arthur Dibinowski,
Yes.
T. Willis Elkins,
Yes.
Julia Amanda Foster,
Yes.
Joel Goldstein, Joel Gross, Katie Denny Horowitz,
Yes.
Sonia Iglesia,
Yes.
Moisha Indig, Bozena Kaminsky, Ryan Coonan,
Yes.
Yoel Landau, Marie Leanza, Abraham Leibovitz, Yoel Lowe, Trina McKeever,
Yes.
Sante Michelli.
Yes.
Jerry, I voted yes. I had a problem with my mic.
No problem, so noted. Sante Michelli,
Yes.
Toby Moskovitz, Martin Needleman, Rabbi Niederman, Karen Nieves,
Yes.
Mario Domerick,
Yes.
Janice Peterson,
Yes.
Dana Racklin, Bella Sable.
Yes. Dana said yes.
So noted. Bella Sable, Isaac Sofer,
We lost you, Jerry. Think.
He's counting.
Oh.
I didn't hear my voice call, so.
Oh, I wasn't
Yeah,
called either.
He stopped at S.
All right, Bella Sable, Isaac Sofer, Robert Solano, Del Teague, Tommy Torres, William Vega,
Yes.
Maria Vieta, Stephen Weidberg,
Yes.
Simon Weiser, $27 in the affirmative. Motion carries.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Willis, for cleaning that up. Anyway, we'll take this up on May 23rd. The rest of the report can be as written, but I just want to say a special thank you to Gina Barros. Ryan has been pushing us to revise the district needs statement, and Gina took a lot of time to come in and really just flesh out how the process works, and really did the yeoman's work of helping us to understand what's involved. And so we'll be talking about district needs at the next meeting. But what she presented was critical to help us getting through. And thank you for all your hard work, Gina. And anyway, so the rest of the report as written, it's 9:24. Thank you, everybody, and good night.
Thank you. Parks as written. Elected Representative Stacy Johnson, Senator Kavanaugh's office. Is Stacy still here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Go ahead, Stacy.
Hi, this is my first time joining a CB1 meeting. So I'm just wanting to say hello. I've been hired by Brian Kavanaugh about a month ago, and I'll be covering all of Brooklyn. So that goes from Greenpoint down to Cobble Hill, all along the waterfront, as many of you probably know. I live in Bushwick, so I'm not far. I'm very familiar. I used to live in Williamsburg. Just a little bit of updates. I don't know if you guys have been paying too much attention to the state legislature, but there's a lot of cool stuff going on. It's pretty exciting. A few things from a week ago, maybe almost 2 weeks ago, there was a package of environmental protection. So a whole 15 different bills passed, including a lot of incentives for more charging stations and parking lots across the state. So especially if they're state-owned or state-subsidized parking facilities, that have more electric charging stations. And a way for solar panel energy credits to be shared with other families in need, rather than just like going back to the energy companies. So this is just a lot of stuff being passed to help us move forward, get away from fossil fuels. And then just yesterday, a lot of bills passed related to fire prevention, mostly in response to the fire in the Bronx. And there was another big one in Chinatown. So increased fines, a lot of like technicalities cleaned up, and more oversight. So I just wanted to make sure that you know that those things are happening, and almost every minute in the next few weeks, there's going to be new updates. I'll try to give you as many of them as I know of. And I have a phone number. I just give it to you if you want to write it down and share it. It's a cell phone number. Like I said, we cover the waterfront and almost all the parks in the district. So 929-274-4033. And my email is sjohnson@nysenate.gov. So please reach out. It works a little slow for me because I'm new. They keep telling me to just enjoy it while it lasts, but I'm very available right now. So if you have events, or if you need COVID tests or masks, any of those things, I can bring them to you, and I can come do a site visit, whatever you want. That's it.
Give us your cell number again, Stacy.
Yeah, sure. 929-274-4033.
Thank you, Stacy.
Thank you.
Jonathan Pombozo from the District Attorney's Office. I guess Jonathan can stay with us. Okay, is there any old business?
Yes, I have old business. It's Mary O'Damarock. So
Go ahead, Mary.
I want to speak on behalf of Congresswoman Maloney, who wanted to jump on to tonight's meeting, but got caught up in all kinds of events in Washington. This past weekend, we had a wonderful celebration of naming the Greenpoint Post Office after Joseph Lenthal. She introduced a bill and it was passed by both houses and signed by the president to name the post office in Greenpoint after Joe Lenthal. And so we had a ribbon cutting and Senator Schumer was there. And it was a really beautiful day and a beautiful event, followed by a garden party in Lenthal Park. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you, Mary. Is there any other?
That's it.
Is there any new business?
Chair, I don't know if it's old business or new business, but I just wanted to remind folks, and it came through the email channel, that the North 15th Open Street opened this past weekend, which is otherwise known as Banker's Anchor on North 15th and Nassau, open on weekends from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Every weekend. And that a reminder that DOT is going to be hosting a workshop this weekend on the Berry Street. So the details came through the whole CB. If anyone needs them, DOT has them.
Thank you. Thank you, Katie. Is there any other new business? Hearing none, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion that we adjourn.
Thank you. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Be safe, be healthy.
Good night.
Good night,
Be
everybody.
blessed. Be blessed.
Night, all. Be
Stay
safe.